Welcome to the 2018 season of Hockomock League football with the Warriors of Foxborough High School. Today's matchup is the 88th Thanksgiving Day meeting between the Foxborough Warriors and the Mansfield Hornets. Coming to you from historic Fenway Park in Boston.
You can see Long again. He's got plenty of room.
Bringing you all of today's exciting football action are Brady Gardner and Kevin Gale.
He's got a head of steam. Nice run. This is Gallagher. Gallagher's got a big seam. Fine move up the middle. Score. There he is. He's gonna find pay dirt.
Now, let's join Brady and Kevin down on the field for today's pregame commentary.
Backside screen again.
One of the greatest rivalries in high school football enters a new chapter as Mansfield and Foxborough move their traditional Thanksgiving Day matchup to historic Fenway Park. It's the 89th football meeting between the Hornets and the Warriors. We welcome you to Foxborough Cable Access. Alongside Brady Gardner, I'm Kevin Gale. The two legendary coaches in this series, Jack Martinelli and Mike Redding, thought long and hard about moving this game off the traditional Thanksgiving morning to earlier in the week on a Tuesday. But when Fenway Park, in the post-game matchup between Harvard and Yale, decided that 4 games... I like it. I was going somewhere good.
You were getting somewhere.
Here we go.
Should we just count ourselves off? All right.
Okay, here we go.
You on your phone still out?
Yeah, I'm just going to peek down.
Okay.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. One of the greatest rivalries in high school football enters a new chapter as Mansfield and Foxborough move their traditional Thanksgiving Day matchup to historic Fenway Park. It's the 89th football matchup between the Warriors and the Hornets. We welcome you to Foxborough Cable Access alongside Brady Gardner. I'm Kevin Gale. The two legendary coaches in this series, Jack Martinelli and Mike Redding, thought long and hard about moving this Thanksgiving Day meeting, but only 4 high school games will be played at Fenway Park this year, and the two schools couldn't pass up an opportunity like this.
Yeah, that's right. This was one of the greatest rivalries in the state, and a rivalry that's gone on for over 93 years with the team's first meeting in 1925. So much history behind it. One of the greatest matchups here in southern New England, and one more chapter of it being written here tonight at Fenway Park.
Turning our attention to the game, Mansfield is coming off a hard-fought loss to King Philip, 10-7 in the D2 state semifinals. And maybe more importantly for Mansfield, they're down a couple players. Vinny Holmes, a two-way player, running back and linebacker, is out with an illness. And Mike DeBolt, second leading rusher and kicker, fractured his foot against KP.
Yeah, that's right, and you can't forget Aiden Sacco as well. He started as a running back for the team. Now he's handling some snaps at quarterback. They've had a lot moving around, but you can't say enough about the job that Coach Redding has done with this team, bringing them a lot of success this season.
On the other side, Foxborough is looking for just its 4th win in the last 15 meetings against Mansfield. They're 4-6 overall this year and looking to avenge a thriller of a loss, 28-20 at home last year to this same Mansfield squad.
Yeah, and this is a Foxborough team that's gone through their own changes. We've seen a little bit of a quarterback kind of battle going on. Liam Foley started the season, and then Phil Thomas got involved later on. So it'll be interesting to see how do they split time here tonight, see what Coach Martinelli draws up.
Can you imagine a more fun atmosphere for a high school football game than this?
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
We are so looking forward to bringing this game to you. It's Mansfield and it's Foxborough, and it's next on Foxborough Cable Access. And there you see historic Fenway Park, the two teams on the field getting set for this historic matchup and wonderful rivalry to resume once again. As we mentioned, just one of 4 high school football games to be played here at Fenway Park this year. Harvard and Yale settled their rivalry here on Saturday. Believe it or not, it was the first time since 1891 that Harvard Stadium or the Yale Bowl did not host that matchup. And Brady, we've been keeping a close eye on this field throughout the weekend. It's endured a lot of rain and even a little bit of snow tonight. Temperatures drifting down into the 20s this evening, so crisp conditions. And I'd have to say this Fenway Park field crew has done a tremendous job to keep this temporary football field in playing shape for Mansfield and Foxborough.
Yeah, I mean, you go through a season of 81 baseball games here, and then you ask it to host 5 different football games. And so you got the makeshift grass going in here on the infield, but it looks fantastic. And obviously, no better stage here for this rivalry game. This historic park built back in 1911. It's seen some football, it's seen hockey, it's seen soccer, it's seen all kinds of sports over the years. But right now, it's hosting one of the greatest rivalries here in Massachusetts.
And two of the best coaches in Massachusetts high school sports history. Mansfield head coach Mike Redding has 250 career wins plus, while Foxborough High School head coach Jack Martinelli has more than 270 wins in his career. And it was interesting, Brady, talking with these two coaches leading up to this game, because they both pointed to a very severe fact about the old days of this rivalry. When these two coaches first got together in the late 1980s, there was a lot of hatred, a lot of bad blood between Mansfield and Foxborough. But over the years, as the two coaches have become closer friends and these schools have developed a more respectful rivalry for each other, both coaches said that at this point in the matchup, they believe this is as professional and as courteous as these two schools have ever been. That's not to say that there won't be some bad blood on the line tonight, but this rivalry has ascended to a new level.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts at the top there with those two coaches, both of 30 years or more, with Martinelli starting in 1982 and then Redding in 1988. And like you said, you know, they've been around and they've seen just about all of it here in this rivalry, and it has come to a little bit more of a courteous rivalry than it has been in previous decades. But you know, still some bad blood on the line, as you mentioned. Two teams that really want to get this win in the last one of the year, and then of course the seniors playing for it all out there on this field, trying to go home happy here on this Tuesday night.
So as you can see, both teams showing some of that respect for one another. They're meeting over the top of that The Game logo at Fenway Park. The 135th matchup between Harvard and Yale played here on Saturday, and tonight we will get the 89th matchup in football all time between Mansfield and Foxborough. 72 times it has been played on Thanksgiving Day. And it was funny talking with Jack Martinelli earlier today. The Foxborough head coach said, I don't know what I'm going to do on Thanksgiving morning. I think for the first time in a long time, I don't have any excuses about showing up late to Thanksgiving supper.
Yeah, it is weird. You know, we've talked about this before, how it was somewhat of a controversy here, bringing it on this Tuesday night instead of the classic 10 a.m. start on a Thursday. But, you know, when Fenway calls, you can't say no. So, big opportunity for these two teams, and certainly a memory that they will never forget.
So we're getting set for the opening coin toss here. Saw the famous facade here at Fenway Park. Still missing that 2018 World Series banner, but come April, you know, they will hoist that new banner back behind home plate. What an honor it is for both of these schools to play on the same field. You mentioned that the Red Sox played 81 games here. I have to point out they played a few more this year, going all the way to the World Series title, their first since 2013, and it's certainly a memory that none of these young men will ever forget. Let's listen in down on the field as we get our opening coin toss. Mansfield dressed in the black jersey tops, gray pants, silver helmets on top. Foxborough in that familiar gold helmet with the white jersey and gold pants.
Across from me and my umpire is Mr. Davido. On the linesman side is Mr. Barber. On the Mansfield sideline and Foxborough sideline tonight is Mr. Bertoni. And our back judge
It's interesting to note here how big the rosters are on both sides. Just looking at it here atop the right field grandstands here, with the two teams lined up on their separate sides. And just a massive roster on both sides. Both teams carrying, it's got to be upwards of 60 guys. Obviously means a lot to all of them. They're all happy to be here and be a part of this matchup, and hopefully be involved in something pretty special tonight.
Who's going to make the call? Your name is? Liam. I do remember. How is
Their senior quarterback Liam Foley will be making the call for this coin toss.
That's a tail. How do I know that?
Foley, the one-year starter of this team, split some time with Phil Thomas.
As it is, you won.
Warriors win the call.
What would you like to do? We'd like to defer. Like to defer. Mansfield, Foxborough has won the toss. We'll defer to the second half.
That means Mansfield will receive the opening kickoff tonight. Opportunity to open the scoring here in this rivalry matchup. And you mentioned some of that shifting around at the quarterback position. That's going to be certainly something we keep an eye on here tonight. Who are the quarterbacks that are going to get the majority of time and the majority of snaps in this critical matchup?
Yeah, it's interesting, but you've seen it sometimes in these college or in this high school level competition where it's good to sometimes have some flexibility at the quarterback position. It offers really two different looks for the defense. You got one guy in Foley who's more of a downfield passer, kind of looks longer and able to pinpoint those wide receivers down the field. And then you got another guy in Phil Thomas who's a little bit more mobile and can kind of make plays a little bit longer and use his legs to gain some yards. So it'll be interesting to see, what does Coach Martinelli decide? Maybe he wants to challenge this secondary of Mansfield with Foley's arm, or maybe he's looking to pressure some of the linebackers and defensive linemen with the legs of Phil Thomas. I wouldn't be surprised if we see both of them taking significant snaps, though, here tonight.
A lot of different options for Foxborough to spread that wide receiving core across the field, open up a lot of different targets. On the other side for Mansfield, it's going to be a much more traditional split back set, running between the tackles. They do have the opportunity to take the top off the defense. It's really about when they're going to pass. It's about when Foxborough stacks the box, when they start cheating against that rushing attack. That's when, boom, they can pop the lid off and throw it deep. So that's really going to be a critical matchup in this game.
That's exactly right. And in this matchup alone, in previous years, we've seen some explosive plays from the Mansfield side. Mansfield victorious in 4 of the last 5 matchups between the two, with Foxborough's win coming just 2 years ago. So Mansfield able to, to put together those explosive plays in previous years to get them to some big victories over Foxborough in the Thanksgiving rivalry game. But tonight, Foxborough, all the past is behind them, and they're looking here to change the narrative a little bit.
Now let's send it down the field for our national anthem. Beautiful rendition of our national anthem tonight here at Fenway Park in Boston. A version of this series that we will never forget. It's Mansfield and Foxborough, the 89th football matchup between the Warriors and Hornets, set to commence at one of the greatest stadiums in all of sports. I'm Kevin Gale, joined by Brady Gardner. It's a pleasure to have you on board. Wherever you're tuning in tonight, we thank you for joining us on Foxborough Cable Access. A lot of hard work and man hours went into setting up this broadcast today. Our thanks to this outstanding production crew, and just take a look at that scene here tonight. You won't see much of the crowd. They're actually tucked underneath our cameras. on the near sideline, and we were told by school officials from both sides that all of the suites that were made available for fans tonight sold out. So a lot of fans enjoying some heated cover for this game, and we're expecting this rivalry to heat up again. Foxborough getting set to kick this ball away. They won the opening toss and deferred to the second half.
Yeah, taking a look at that lower bowl a minute ago, I can confirm there's some good crowds forming down there. We were wondering how would the fans be, making the 45-minute trek up here into Boston, but so far a pretty good turnout, and they only expect it to get even more full. Here's the game goes.
Toe meets leather. Russell Neal puts the ball in play, and we are underway. Mansfield and Foxborough beginning right now. Galloping out on the return, Sincere Gill works his way out across the 35-yard line, and the Hornets will set up shop. First down and 10 at their own 37.
You look at the game plan for these two teams, and I think on the defensive side of the ball for Foxborough, it's just all about preventing points on the board. In their 4 wins this season, they gave up 14 points or less in all those matchups. So the key for them is just to keep the offense to as minimal point production as possible, and try to win in a low-scoring game rather than get into a shootout.
Hornets set up their offense with 2 backers. Opening snap is fumbled, picked up in the backfield. Look at Foxborough crowd around that football, and the ball carrier is taken down. Sincere Gill just had to get over the top of that football and salvage anything out of that play. He lost 3, but it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was Sacco, the quarterback, in on that play. As we mentioned in the pregame, he's a running back by trade, and maybe the counts are off a little bit to start here, but not really the start that Mansfield was looking for, but a good play nonetheless from Gill to try to salvage something from it.
So an auspicious start here for the Hornets, just trying to settle some things down on offense. So get clean exchange on the snap this time. Out of the shotgun set, it's a designed run for Sacco around right edge. Cuts upfield, spins off 1 tackle, and then he's met by 2 Foxborough tacklers. Stacking the pads that time, Pat Stapleton leading the way. Split end and free safety.
Yeah, what a year Stapleton has had here in the back for this Warrior defense. And a big tackle right there coming in and blowing up the play, but that's what Sacco brings to this Mansfield offense. His ability to run gives them some good options and somewhat of a wildcat look. Trying to make something happen there on the right, but Foxborough right there to meet him.
And the Warriors do a good job of presenting a lot of different defensive fronts, anywhere from 4 to 5 to 6-man sets along that line. So let's see if Mansfield puts the ball in the air here. 3rd down and 10, backed up at its own 37-yard line. Early on here in the first quarter. Snap taken directly by Elijah Lewis, and the throw is incomplete to the near left sideline. Excuse me, that was Jack Musette, quarterback, throwing to the near sideline there, intended for Danny Raposa. So it's a 3 and out for Mansfield, and the Warriors will take the ball right back after a good defensive stand.
As you mentioned, that's Musette who came in, had a collarbone injury earlier this year, but they trust him enough to be their more throwing quarterback here late in the season now. Right there, obviously unable to link up, but good start for Foxborough on the defensive end, and get a quick turnover here, or a change in possession, I should say, under 2 minutes into this game.
Mansfield certainly a squad that's thin at the skill positions, especially at running back, and we've also heard that they're down a few linebackers as well. Fair catch called for by Foxborough back at the 30-yard line, and maybe a little bit of extracurricular activity here. Flags go flying after the play, and Brady, as is so often the case in any rivalry, whether it be at the high school, college, or professional level, everyone has to stay calm, stay within the confines of the rules, and avoid the silly penalties that could nearly cost your team.
I mean, it's just such a big stage here. You're at Fenway Park. You got the fans cheering for you on this, biggest game of the season, really.
And there you saw right there, looked like a little swing after the play. Philip Sloan charged for the 15-yard personal foul.
Foxborough will take that one all game.
Again, it's interesting. We saw some tempers flare on this field on Saturday between Harvard and Yale. a wag of the finger by a Harvard running back on the way into the end zone actually wiped the touchdown off the board. So a little bit of bump here for Foxborough. First offensive possession, good fake in the backfield, handoff and a fumble. The ball squirts ahead. Who's going to get on top of it? We saw multiple hands touch the football, and I think the Warriors somehow got it back. Yes, indeed. Johnny on the spot, one of the offensive linemen. I believe it was Tom Cullen, the offensive guard, who got upfield.
Yeah, I think so. That run there from Shane Kerrigan, the standout junior, but just lost the handle a little bit at the end. And like you said, Johnny on the spot with Tom Cullen right there to follow on it. Both teams with fumbles on their first offensive plays. Maybe a little bit of nerves here in this game. But obviously both teams able to retain possession on both occasions.
Each of these quarterbacks for Foxborough brings some different skill sets when guiding this offense, and it looks like we had a holding call tacked on at the end of that play. So despite some upfield yardage on the forward fumble, the ball is backed up to the 35-yard line, and that'll bring up a first down and 20 for Foxborough. So a bit undisciplined on both sides so far, still getting comfortable here on this gigantic stage. Liam Foley gives it right away. Mansfield read it like a book. First man into the backfield. Chris Graham, the junior defensive lineman, blew up that play.
Looks like both teams strong on the run here early on. Have to think that was in the game plan with both teams, loving to bring the ball up towards their linemen. Both teams very confident in their front guys there, but so far defense right there to keep them in control.
Second down and 19 here at the 36-yard line. Looking for that first big offensive play in this contest. There's a drop on the near sideline. In and out of the hands of Shane Kerrigan. One of the key targets here in the early going.
Yeah, and that's the one that Kerrigan knows he has to have, and he probably does have it 9 out of 10 times. It's a good play from Foley rolling out, providing a spiral that hits him right in the numbers, really. But Kerrigan just unable to corral it. He did have two Hornets there surrounding him, so maybe heard the footsteps a little bit. But that's a play that Foxborough needs to have.
Rob Fay is actually the leading receiver when it comes to scoring this year for Foxborough. 3 touchdown receptions overall. Liam Foley at quarterback still guiding this offense. He's thrown 6 TDs this year. Clock is stopped, 8 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Checks down into the flat. That time it's complete. A little bit of room out across the 40-yard line. And that'll bring up 3rd down and about 15 yards to go. No correction, that'll bring up 4th down and long. Let's take another look. Just a safe pass play to avoid any major loss of yardage here. And you can see that this will become a field position battle in the early going.
And again, good team tackling from Mansfield, getting numbers over towards the ball carrier quickly and forcing what looks like it'll be a punt from the Warriors. Both teams trading punts here in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Christian Connor back deep to receive, along with Sincere Gill. Good snap here, booted away. Ball dropped at about the 31-yard line, a couple extra yards on the hop. Now Mansfield will come out onto the Fenway Park field for its second offensive drive of the night. 7:09 remaining here in the first quarter. Still no score in the 89th football meeting between Mansfield and Foxborough.
You mentioned Christian Connor there for the Hornets. He's really done it all for him. He had a running touchdown this season. He had 2 receiving touchdowns and then 3 interceptions on the defensive side of the ball. So a guy that they trust both offensively and defensively.
Mansfield fumbled its first snap of the game. Bring a man in motion here. Direct handoff and some galloping room there for Sincere Gill.
That's what Gill can do. Once he gets those legs moving, he is hard to bring down. Got a great hole there on that left side of his offensive line and exploited it well for, I believe, the biggest gain of the game so far for either team.
And our first down on either side. Took this Mansfield squad a while to get comfortable in this offense this year. Had 10 days to prepare since their loss to KP in the state semifinals. Wildcat formation and another first down, a chunk play into Foxborough territory.
And this is when Mansfield gets dangerous. Once they start moving quickly and they start really just working you up through the middle there, that's when they can really cause a problem. As you see, the offensive line doing a great job opening the gap there for
Aiden Sacco, one of the captains on this team. Steady diet of handoffs for him so far. First down and 10 for Mansfield. The Warrior 42-yard line. Step back and a throw, deflected and intercepted. Our first turnover of the game, and it belongs to Foxborough. The pick made by Martin McElroy, one of the defensive captains for Foxborough. What a moment he'll never forget here at Fenway Park.
Yeah, and it was a great job there getting pressure on Sacco. His first throwing attempt of the game, but really didn't have a chance to get it off well. Hard to tell who that was for the Warriors breaking through, but a great play to get a hand on the ball. Let it fall right into the hands of McElroy.
Looked like it might have been the linebacker and another senior captain on this squad, Hunter Williams, coming off the edge.
Yeah, Williams, I wouldn't be surprised if it was him. He's been a real danger his entire high school career.
And coming in motion here for the Warriors, faking the handoff. Quarterback keeper as Foley squirts his way forward out to the 44-yard line. Called a gain of about 3-4 yards on first down, and a nice start this time for the Warriors.
Maybe Martinelli trying to catch the Hornet defense off guard a little bit there, going with a quick count and then getting Foley going up the middle. Normally a job that we see for Phil Thomas, getting his legs moving, but it was Foley that time there with the keeper.
A spread offense with two solid backs that Jack Martinelli believes he can rely on. Here's a double handoff. Some room up the field for Brian Durba. He's got enough for the first down on a 9-yard gain.
Durba, another one of those junior talents, normally out wide, but right there taking the reverse off the handoff. Good little trickery there from the Warriors, worked well. Mansfield had numbers there in the box, but Durba did a good job to find the hole, and now Foxborough has something going.
In the second half of the year, this Foxborough backfield has become more and more confident, rushing behind an offensive line here that's healthy and excited to try and level that record at 500 to cap off the 2018 season. Foley rolling the pocket. He's going to tuck it and go. Works his way on a spin move into Mansfield territory, and he is smothered into the turf at the Hornet 47-yard line. Diving through at the end of that play was TJ Guy. He's some kind of guy as a sophomore.
Yeah, and you see Foley there taking a look downfield. He had two deep targets, but I think he made the right decision in not throwing it to either one of them since they were pretty well covered, but might have just sold his move a little bit early there as he kind of, tucked it away quickly and let the linebackers converge on him rather than maybe hitting with a little pump fake to try to push them off a little bit, gain some more yards.
When he paid the price for the extra yards.
Foley's seen the majority of the snaps here for Foxborough early on. He must be the main man in their game plan.
Two wide receivers left. They'll bring Durba in motion. Here comes the pressure, a check down pass, that's complete. Right across the logo at midfield, a big handful of jersey, but on come the Warriors. Deeper into Mansfield territory, a determined run that time by Mike Luong. Yards after contact, so key in a big game like this.
And how about the play too from Foley? He had 3 Hornets flying in on him, but somehow managed to get it to Luong. You see there, Foley just having to dump it off, and Luong right there did a good job of getting away from the contact and gaining an extra 5 yards or so. Foxborough driving into Mansfield territory here with just about 3 minutes left in this opening quarter.
Third down and short upcoming here. Just 3 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Mansfield nothing, Foxborough nothing. Trying to pick up the first sustained drive of this game after an interception by Martin McElroy, but we've got a flag before the snap, and it's going to be delay of game against Foxborough.
Yeah, and that's one you know is going to bother Coach Martinelli. No real excuse there. Have a delay of game penalty, but just a little bit of miscommunication, and that'll push him back after what was a very good gain from Luong. Third down will be just a little bit harder now.
One of those critical mistakes that can really cost you on a big stage like this, from 3rd and short to 3rd down and 6. This will completely change the play call here for Foxborough. Looking for just its 4th victory in the last 15 meetings against Mansfield. Trying to get history back on its side. 2 wide receivers to the right. Durba coming in motion again. Flags fly before the snap. Play continues. Foley just trying to get ahead. Looked like his knee was down. Ball popped loose late. Mansfield celebrating the tackle by the linebacking core, but these flags are in the area of offside, so those 5 yards might be coming right back for Foxborough.
And Foxborough looking like they'll get a little bit of a gift here from the Hornets. As you said, just gave away a delay of game penalty, and now it's going to be offsides as it looks.
And it looks like his knee is certainly down there. You can see on the turf before the ball popped loose. So let's go right back to where we were. 3rd down and 1 for Foxborough at the Mansfield 39-yard line. Clock is melting away here in the first quarter. A grinded out, hard-nosed defensive matchup so far, just like we expected. Heavy set here, 3 in the backfield. Handoff goes right up the gut. It's a first down for the Warriors. Simple as that. Why get cute on 3rd down and short when you have faith in your offensive line and a big back like Mike Luong?
Yep, Luong did a great job just driving forward, knowing where the first down is. Didn't try to get anything more than that. He knew he needed those 3 yards and able to get it.
Saw he had a convoy of blockers, some good motion after the snap there. Keyshawn Sanders sold the fake very well. Now the Warriors are going to spread it out, and they'll run off left tackle. Minimal gain on first down, just chipping away here. But there you see some of the diversity of this offense. 2 wide receivers to each side, and the Warriors hope that'll open up some gaps to run through.
A lot of run plays early on here on both sides, but that's kind of what high school football is at times. Just try to grind it out, as you've mentioned. Try to just keep working out the defense, tire them out, make your way down the field, chew up some clock as well. More time you can keep the opposing offense off the field is the less time you could be scored on.
Jack Martinelli has a lot of faith in the seniors on this offense to protect the football. Create a convoy into the Mansfield end zone as pressure comes from both sides. It was nearly thrown right into the chest of a Mansfield rusher. Good penetration that time by Philip Dinoff, one of the captains for Mansfield, and boy, Foley did well just to avoid turning this ball over, whether via an INT or a fumble, because he had a whole lot of Hornets in his lap.
Yeah, and Dinov, no stranger to forcing fumbles. He has 2 on the season and almost just had his 3rd there. Foley just trying to get rid of it, prevent the sack. Very nearly gave it away, though. Nervy moments for the Warriors. Now they have another 3rd and long.
4 wide receivers, 3 of them to the near right side. Foley takes the snap, stares across the middle and missed his intended target. Looking for a flag on the play is Elijah Lewis. He thought he got hooked on his way across the field, but that'll bring up 4th down and 8. And you got to think this is no man's land, and Jack Martinelli is going to opt to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, another thing you see common in high school football is these long 4th downs here when you're in opposing territory. It's too long for a field goal attempt for most kickers, really anywhere in the country. So they're going to go for it. It'd be kind of too short for a punt, so might as well just see what you can do here. Not going to be easy, but if they can drop a good play, this could really get them going here towards a potential first score of the game.
Liam Foley has as good of an arm as there is at the high school level. That's according to his head coach, Jack Martinelli. Let's see if he puts it in the air here. 2 wide to each side. Foley with time. He lofts a rainbow throw and a miscommunication deep downfield. Shane Kerrigan turned around on a button hook, and Foley threw it deep into the end zone, so it's a turnover on downs. Following that Warrior interception, the Hornets take it back 1st down and 10 at their own 34-yard line.
Yeah, it did seem like the Warriors broke the huddle a little bit quickly there. Clearly a little miscommunication between Kerrigan and the quarterback Foley. So after a pretty encouraging drive there, it all fizzles out here, and now Mansfield with decent field position going the other way.
Mansfield expected more than 1,000 fans here at the game tonight. They're going to like this play early on by Sincere Gill. He's been really the only reliable option offensively. Sure-handed in the kick return game as well.
Sometimes that's all you need, though, at the high school level. When you get, a guy who can just relentlessly attack the defense, that's what Gill does. He just keeps the legs churning, not afraid of contact. That's exactly what you want from your running back, and already we've seen some signs of success for him early in this one.
The Kelly Rex divisional champs, 8-2 this year, the home team against Foxborough tonight. Warriors have won 3 of their last 4 games, including 2 straight non-playoff wins, trying to cap off this season the right way. Playing defense here. Good slash through the middle of the field there. And some nice yardage by Joe Plath, the junior running back and linebacker, one of the multiple two-way players on both sides of this game, and that's going to run out the clock here in the first quarter. Foxborough nothing, Mansfield nothing. But a little momentum here for the Hornets. They were backed up in their own territory, forced a turnover on downs. And now as we head to the second quarter, they will try to break this scoreless tie as they reset the clock with 11 minutes coming up before halftime.
Well, as we mentioned early on, this game all about the coaching duo between Jack Martinelli, head coach since 1982, and then Mike Redding since 1988, so these guys know each other well, and they've been around this rivalry. Against Foxborough in his 30 matchups, Redding is 19-11. Meanwhile, Martinelli is 17-19. But he did have 6 straight wins over Mansfield before Redding came. In those first years, 82-88, and then Redding showed up, and things got a little bit more complicated for the Warriors. This shows you the real chess match it is every time these two coaches take the field against each other.
Yeah, this rivalry certainly changed in the late 1980s when Mike Redding got involved in his second matchup against Foxborough. It was 1989. It was actually the last time that these two teams didn't meet on Thanksgiving Day. 5 to 6 inches of snow on Thanksgiving pushed the game to a Saturday, and it was a major win for Mansfield. And here comes a big run up the field by Sincere Gill. He's finally dragged down from behind inside the 10-yard line. A huge chunk play for the first time tonight.
Looks like there might have been a little extracurricular activity at the end again, but we said it with Gill, just such an explosive player, and Mansfield historically such an explosive offense. As you see right there, a little bit of a broken play early on, but brings it outside and just gets into a foot race with some Warriors, able to bring it all the way down inside the 10.
Shook one of those linebackers with one cut, and then he ripped off 60 yards on the ground. But you mentioned that flag that came in late. So we'll wait for confirmation. He was originally spotted down at the 9-yard line. And it is indeed personal foul against Foxborough. Half the distance to the goal. They'll spot this just inside the 5-yard line.
And that's just insult to injury for the Warriors. You give up a 60-yard run and all of a sudden tack on 5 more yards onto that, half the distance to the goal. Now Mansfield with a golden opportunity here with about 10 minutes to play here in this second quarter.
So Aiden Sacco, the running back turned quarterback, has the offset back, gives it right up the gut. Bowling forward and into the end zone goes Joel Plath. Touchdown Mansfield. Hornets strike first, 6-0 pending the extra point.
Yeah, and it's harsh for the Warriors because they've done so well against the run there in those first couple series. But all of a sudden, one big run and you're on the back foot, and that's Plath with some very strong running right up the gut. Breaks a tackle and able to get into the end zone to open the scoring in this game, but Foxborough cannot get down on themselves. They've had some success on their own offense, but Mansfield taking the lead.
Hornets will attempt the extra point. Kick is on his way, and it is wide left. May have been deflected by some of those rushers coming through, but the kick is missed as we take another look at the touchdown for Joe Plath from 5 yards out. lowers the shoulder and works his way across that goal line. For Plath this year, it's his first rushing touchdown. And what a place to pick it up here at historic Fenway Park. Mansfield 6, Foxborough nothing with 10:21 remaining here in the second quarter.
It'll be interesting to see the response from the Warriors here. As I mentioned, they had some things going there for that drive before he failed fourth down. So there's some encouraging signs and things to build on as they go forward. But you know, if you get into this mode of, oh, we got to keep putting up points with this Mansfield offense, well, that's when you get into trouble. You can afford to give up, you know, 1 touchdown and a half. Those are the games that you win. But once you start trying to get into a shootout and you let them put points against you and you're trying to get a little too aggressive, that's when things can get ugly.
And it started with that 60-yard run by Sincere Gill. Talking with Jack Martinelli before this game, he had a lot of good things to say about this Mansfield squad. He said, quote, "They don't have any weaknesses." Mansfield, a team which has been ravaged by injuries, illnesses, defections since the start of the year, averaging nearly 25.5 points per game. And they are on the board first. Let's see if Foxborough has an answer. Pretty nifty return here by Brian Durba. Snuck his way out across the 30-yard line, and the Warriors will go back to work on offense. They turned it over on downs last time around. Let's take another look at the return here. Warriors trying to find some answers offensively here, and now they'll have to do it playing from behind.
This is kind of how it's been, though, for the Warriors. This season has not been the easiest for them. They had a tough start, going 1-6 to start the campaign, with their lone win being 16-3 over the Stoughton Black Knights. But they had a lot of inexperienced pieces early on, and as a senior captain Andrew Longa told us, it took them a while to kind of find their identity. But now that they've built some team chemistry, they've been able to get things going. Went 3-4 to finish the campaign and trying to make it 4-5.
Phil Thomas on the keeper that time. Three-way player, wide out, quarterback, cornerback. They've used him offense, defense, you name it. He's ready when called upon, and oh, he got stood up at the 35-yard line. What a hit delivered that time by Chris Capone, another one of those defensive captains for the Hornets.
Interesting, though. Thomas into the game for the Warriors, trying to provide that spark.
Trying to roll around right edge is Thomas. He throws incomplete downfield. Looked like it was in and out of the hands of Shane Kerrigan. A second drop for Kerrigan tonight.
It was a tricky one, though. His first drop, he knows he has to have that one when it hit him between the numbers, but this one laying out for it, trying to make the spectacular catch on really well-placed ball from Thomas, because that was just about the only place he could put it, but just unable to corral it was Kerrigan. Hasn't been the easiest start here for Kerrigan tonight, but as we've seen this season, he's a real workhorse for this offense and somebody that they rely on. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him really start coming up with some big catches here as this game goes on.
A great rivalry now in its 89th year. 5-wide set. A throw into the flat, completed there. We get a late flag behind the play, and then a second flag comes in during the tackle at the 36-yard line, and Brady, I'm going to assume the way the first flag came in, this might be roughing the passer, and then a second penalty on the Hornets upfield.
Yeah, I think it was. As you see Thomas maybe a little bit slow to get up. I think he was hit after the play there in the backfield. We'll take another look at it right here in the shotgun. So you'd think he'd have a little bit more time, but Mansfield all over him quickly, and looked like the momentum might have brought the defender there, number 79, TJ Guy, right into him.
Boy, the Hornets have dialed up the pressure all night long. Blitz after blitz. Looks like we're going to get a legal block in the back called against the Warriors, so that's going to wipe away the penalty, offsetting fouls.
And another one that just gives coaches headaches. You know you shouldn't do it, but then you kind of, lose the focus or the concentration for 1 second. Next thing you know, you're negating what could have been a penalty for your team. And you're right back to where you started, another 3rd and long.
Pretty surreal atmosphere with a football field at Fenway Park, but as you get deeper into the game, the wow factor starts to go away. 3rd down and 7. Pressure comes again. It's deflected at the line of scrimmage. And boy, that's the 2nd or 3rd time tonight. We've seen a couple Hornets floating around that football. 3 and out this time for the Warriors, and they're going to have to punt it back to the Hornets. And you wonder, Brady, could this be the moment in the game where if Mansfield rips off a long touchdown drive, it could really shift the momentum?
Yeah, Foxborough needed something. They needed to chew up some clock, keep the offense off the field, give their defense some more time to rest, but Mansfield defense very strong in keeping Foxborough very minimal yards. Now they're going to have to give it right back.
Sincere Gill. Christian Connor back to receive again. It goes through the hands of Gill. Ball's loose. Foxborough tumbling over the top of it. And Mansfield came up with the football. How did Jack Berry track down that pigskin? There were 2 Warriors in the area, but somehow Mansfield dodges a bullet.
Yeah, Gill certainly has to thank his fellow player there for being on top of it. You got to wonder, maybe the lights are weird here at Fenway compared to Alumni Field back in Mansfield. Obviously, this baseball configuration not really set for a normal football field, so maybe the lights were in his eyes. You have to wonder, kind of uncharacteristic there from the return man, but got away with it. Nervy moments, Foxborough very nearly making a 30-yard advance in field position on the punt.
Bad luck for Tom Cullen, who looked destined to fall on top of that football. Handoff goes to Connor. Flag flies in. A little more yak, yards after contact. As Connor worked his way out to the 45-yard line, but once again, we'll check the laundry on the field.
Referee's not letting anything slide here tonight. Penalty will be on the offense, it looks like.
You know, both coaches want to clean this up as we head toward the second half here at Fenway. Foxborough's defensive line of Alton George, Sean Teixeira, Billy McNeil, hoping to slow Sacco inside and limit what the Hornets can do with some big play skill.
Looked like he was going to be a good hole there for Connor to run through, but closed up well by the senior Rob Simon, an outside linebacker as well as a fullback at times on the offensive side. These linebackers for Foxborough, we talk about Williams and Simon, just so many of them who have shown such great things here late in their careers for this Warrior team. One of the real strengths of the team. Looks like we'll have a timeout called.
Boy, Mike Redding went as far out onto the field as he could, now standing inside the numbers at the 50-yard line. Again, it's an interesting situation with both teams standing on the same side of the field, so coaches really have to wander down the sideline to try and communicate with their players, communicate with their staffs. The reason why both teams are set up on the far sideline is to not block the view of the fans on the near sideline.
Yeah, and Redding in the Foxborough half here. Obviously, someone who commands the respect that he does. Being with this Mansfield team for so long, you're not going to tell him to get on his own side if you're a Foxborough player, but he can kind of do what he wants. I know it works with high school football a little bit. Obviously, no communication in the helmets for the quarterbacks, so between every play, they got to run over and talk to their head coach and head back to the huddle. Looks like it'll be Mousset taking it this time.
So after the pause in action, we go back to work. 8:34 remaining here in the second quarter. Mansfield in front, 6-0.
Actually, I believe it's Elijah Lewis taking the snap.
Screened across the middle and dropped. In and out of the hands of Christian Connor.
Second down and 20 from the 28.
Connor this year a key part of the offense. Team leader in receptions, in fact, the only Hornet with double-digit catches. Totaled up 185 yards through the air so far this year. And again, you see the offensive line releasing up the field, letting some of those rushers go, trying to set the blocks, but catch has to be made along the line of scrimmage. So after the incompletion, second down and 20 upcoming here. Mansfield backed up on the edge of what's typically the Red Sox infield. Temporary turf here coming up in big chunks. Good job by the Hornets to pick up that blitz. It's a completed pass on the near sideline. Extra hit comes in late.
And that's a tough one to take for the Warriors. You had him out of bounds. He was all set, and then you just give that extra push, and it's going to cost you some big yards, and all of a sudden a 2nd and 20 might become a first down towards the 50-yard line. We'll see it here. It was good pass protection for the most part. So the Warriors able to keep the receiver in front of them, wrap him up well, as you see right there. Great camera work along the sideline, but just that extra effort coming through.
Such a tough play against the sideline. You want to finish off the hit, but you got to keep your eyes on that white chalk. So Matty Bowen made the catch, grabbed it down low as well. Nice hands on a very chilly night here in Boston. 15 yards will be added on to the end of the play. Look at that Foxborough staff, seemingly all the coaches nearly out toward the hash marks.
Well, they know it's a big one, and they know that they're the underdogs in this matchup. They're trying to do everything they can to help the 11 guys they got on the field. Obviously, when a 3rd and 10 or so becomes a 1st and 10 in your own half, it's not too easy.
So the referee's giving a lot of leeway here to both coaching staffs. I think they understand that this is a non-traditional matchup. Both teams trying to get the hang of sharing the same sideline and trying to hear out both coaches. That was a long conversation between Jack Martinelli and our lead official in the white hat. As it stands right now, Mansfield 6, Foxborough nothing. 8:24 remaining here in the 2nd quarter. I'm Kevin Gale alongside Brady Gardner. We thank you for tuning in to Foxborough Cable Access, bringing you this historic 89th football meeting between the Warriors and the Hornets. 5-yard touchdown run by Joe Platt. The difference so far, missed extra point. Mansfield driving here after the 15-yard late hit. Into Warrior territory. Mousset flings it out left. Good move there, picking up the extra yards. Christian Connor.
Yeah, Connor, just the go-to guy for them in the receiving game, it seems. We've seen Sincere Gill getting a lot of action in the backfield, although not so much since coughing up that punt return earlier. Now it's
Christian Connor's 2nd leading rusher on this team. He's missed a couple playoff games due to injuries. We've talked so much about Mansfield trying to keep a healthy squad on the field. Shown some good depth here. The offensive line is perfectly healthy, and look at the space given off the edge to Connor. Rolls through one tackle, and he picks up the first down. Inside the 35-yard line, chains will move for the Hornets.
Connor really being showcased in this drive here. Take another look at it. Taking it out of that double back formation. Now bringing it towards the near sideline, just trying to bounce it outside, and a good bit of tackling for the Warriors, but the damage had been done. Already got to that first down marker. Now just over 30 yards to go before they can potentially double their lead.
First down and 10 at the 33-yard line for Mansfield. Looking deep. Tuck and go. Up the middle, and a tackle from behind. Pushes Jack Mousset down at the 24-yard line. Did well to protect that football. So often that strip from behind can be so devastating.
And you saw it here. Did a good job of tucking it away early, protecting the football, because when you're running into space like that, yes, it seems like you've got forever to run, but all it takes is one linebacker flying in to pop that ball loose. Good job by Mousset to keep it in his control.
Fumbled in the backfield, picked up by the Warriors. Mousset missed the handoff to Gill, and it's swallowed up behind the line. Anton George, the junior defensive end, stifles the Mansfield drive.
And what a time for it to come. As you see there, maybe a little bit of an option play for Mansfield, and miscommunication between Gill and Mousset, and it's George right there to fall on it. Very fortunate for the Warriors, as it looked like Mansfield were backing them in towards potentially an inevitable score. But right there, Just seems like Musette thought Gill had it and he didn't. All of a sudden it's George falling right onto it. Look what I found. Foxborough has the ball.
But now the Warriors need to make some hay on offense. Off right tackle they go. Minimal gain on first down, maybe one. Keyshawn Sanders leaned right into the tackle.
Keyshawn Sanders, part of that kind of two-headed monster for the Warriors in the backfield, with Mike Luong making up the other half of it. Two runners who can split time and really stay healthy there, stay energized, try to keep things going on the ground. Either one of them gets tired when they're able to kind of go between each other and share the snaps like that.
So a key turnover forced by the Warriors defense. Jack Martinelli, a defensive genius, according to his rival on the other side, Mike Redding. We mentioned all the respect between these two coaches, very instrumental here in the great state of Massachusetts.
You see Phil Thomas now taking the snaps. This is his second drive that he's been calling the shots for. Bit interesting after we saw Foley there in the first quarter, changing things up, now going with the fellow senior Thomas, and that one called incomplete, but very dangerous, nearly an interception for Mansfield.
Boy, if that ball had hung up a little bit longer for Chris Graham, he would have had enough time to get his arms underneath it. Look at him pointing to his sideline right away, saying, look up at the scoreboard, watch this replay.
Yeah, maybe for the Warriors' benefit.
But you could see that ball clearly hit the ground. Still a great defensive play to bring up 3rd down and 10.
For the Warriors, you gotta find some way to get these 10 yards. You get that big change, or you get the big turnover through your defense. You gotta make something of it. We'll see if they can here as we hit the 6-minute mark remaining in this half.
Well, the Warriors take a shot downfield. Thomas on the rollout. He hucks it long. He's got a man just barely overthrown. Intended for Kerrigan. They nearly hooked up and took the top off the defense, but instead Mansfield holds off the Warriors 3 and out.
Thomas going for it all on the 3rd and 10, and he almost had Kerrigan, who did have a step on the defender, but unfortunately for the Warriors, just a little too long. Foxborough putting a lot of faith in the arm of Thomas. He's a middle infielder for the baseball team in the spring. So a guy, we know he's got a good arm, but just a little bit too much there on that one.
High snap, fielded well by Foley. And it popped off the side of his foot. Forward roll out across the 50-yard line into Mansfield territory, where the Hornets take over at their own 48-yard line.
And that's tough if you're Foxborough. You get that big turnover, you think the tides are kind of changing and you're going to start to get momentum in your favor. And all of a sudden you go 3 and out there, and you just barely punched into your opponent's half. Now Mansfield with some excellent field position going the other way. Gotta hope that Foxborough defense can get a stop here, try to get it back to their offense and maybe even up this score here before the halftime hits.
So Aiden Sacco, the former split end, now starting at quarterback, has done well to manage the offense here for Mansfield.
Yeah, Sacco with so much time as quarterback, really a testament to the job he has done. Musette was the #1 guy early on, but now he's sharing the snaps with Musette and Sacco.
Fake the give to Gill, and a host of Warriors were there at the offensive line. Rob Simon, the first man in from his linebacker spot.
Simon, one of so many seniors for this Foxborough team, and really in this entire game with Mansfield having their fair share of them. And that's really one of the main storylines every year in this Thanksgiving game. How will the seniors end their legacy in Foxborough? Will you be that team that had that big win that year, or are you the team that lost? And I know which one both teams want to be.
So many memories in this rivalry. Talking with both coaches, they have seemingly an encyclopedic memory of each year that these two teams have gotten together on Thanksgiving morning. Great tackle made in the backfield this time on the keeper play. Whole lot of Warriors will get credit for that tackle. I mentioned earlier that high point for Mansfield under head coach Mike Redding. That 1989 matchup beat Foxborough 14-0 for the first ever trip to the state Super Bowl for Mansfield. In fact, it was the first win over Foxborough in 8 years. That flipped the momentum in that rivalry. Some outstanding names on that team. Chris Cady was one of them, went on to play at the Naval Academy. Mansfield trying to make another memory here. Pick up a 12th win in the last 16 years. Time, space, the throw downfield, too far out in front of Sacco, who went out to a wide receiver spot that time. And you see some of the diversity again for the Hornets. Even though they've been strapped at quarterback due to injuries, everybody's done a little bit of everything. So if you are that defensive genius, Jack Martinelli on the other side, you've seemingly got to cover everyone because there are skill players at every position. 4th down and 11 coming up.
Yeah, and you talk about the versatility of so many players, and that's kind of how it works in high school football. If you can punt, you're the punter. If you're, if you can catch, you're going to be a wide receiver. If you can tackle, you're going to be a linebacker. It's just, you're used as or based on what you can do. And the Foxborough defense came up with a big stop there, forcing a punt here.
Good clean protection that time for Sacco, who, as you mentioned, does just about everything. Rolled that punt down to the 15-yard line, and Foxborough will go back on offense now. The Warriors have done a couple things right. They've had some opportunities to throw the ball deep. And you wonder, with 3:48 remaining here in the second quarter, can they pick up a sustained drive and at the very least get into field goal position? It's been a battle of field position all the way. We've rarely seen the ball inside the 30-yard line down to our left.
Yeah, that's a testament to the Mansfield defense for the most part. Done an excellent job stopping Foxborough's offense, but in some cases it's just been Foxborough unable to get out of their own way. Just some miscommunication, some costly penalties. But they have plenty of time now to try to get a good drive going here as we finish out the second quarter.
Foley out of the gun. Handed it off up the gut. And a good first down play to pick up a few yards and add a little breathing room there. I think it was Rob Simon on the take.
See it there, Luong just trying to find space, but so many black shirts there to meet him. No other option other than to just see how many yards he can get there in close quarters.
Foxborough marching band working its way down onto the field for the halftime festivities. We'll bring you that coverage live right here on Foxborough Cable Access. Mansfield's marching band will be out there as well. To give that time to Brian Durba, wide receiver and cornerback. Picked up a couple to bring up 3rd down and manageable. Should be about 4 yards to go following this timeout. So Foxborough calls its first timeout of the night. Both teams given 5 timeouts to start the contest. It was a lot of fun this week, Brady, talking with both of these coaches about so many of their memories in this rivalry. It was Jack Martinelli who shared with us that he has seen plenty of football played here at Fenway Park before. He was a Boston Patriots season ticket holder back in the 1960s. They actually played here in the AFL until the 1968 season. That was back when the Patriots had a hard time finding a home. Jack Martinelli said he followed that team from Fenway Park to Harvard Stadium, even a brief stop at Nickerson Field over at Boston University.
Yeah, pretty crazy. You talk about so much history going into this game, both in the venue here at Fenway Park and also just between the two teams. We talk about more than 90 years of history between them. And obviously, in those 90 years, you've got the potential for, people who played in those first games. Now their grandchildren are playing in these games. Just amazing how you can have those, kind of just lines of families running through this rivalry, and that's what makes it one of the best ones in the state. Just so many ties to so many people, making it so special, making it worthy of coming here to Fenway Park.
Another costly procedure penalty for Foxborough. It was an illegal substitution, 5 yards lost, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 9. On the rollout, a throw across the middle through the hands and intercepted. It's Sacco. No, they're going to wave it off. It was touched twice by Mansfield. It looked from our spot way upstairs that Sacco may have gotten his hands under the ball, but let's take another look. You'll see that Foley's pass was deflected on its way upfield.
A lot of these passes for Foxborough coming on the rollout. That one just barely missed the hands of a linebacker there and then ended up in the hands of Sacco. Did he catch it?
Actually, it ended up in the hands of Durba somehow, some way. So it rolled off the ground to Durba. I'm not sure how that happened, but it's an incomplete pass. And again, you go from 3rd down and 4 to 3rd down and 9. It probably wipes away the run play and forces Foley to toss it downfield. High end-over-end kick. Bounces into that wet turf at the 42-yard line and sticks like a 9-iron on a golf course. So good backspin on that kick. Unfortunately, you're looking for that forward roll. And now with 2:45 remaining, Foxborough has got to make a stop here on defense and keep this deficit at 6-0.
This is how it's been, really. Mansfield pinning Foxborough on their own end, and you're punting from within your own 10. You can only get it as far as the 40. Aren't many punters in the state, frankly, that could get it much further. Now Mansfield with some excellent field position, but it's really touchdown or bust here as field goal kickers, not really the strong suit of any team at this level.
Jack Mousset gives it to Sincere Gill. Spins out of one tackle, and he's finally dropped as the Warriors join the act late.
Ever since that 60-yard run that Gill broke off earlier on that led to the touchdown, Foxborough's done a great job of keeping him in their control. Just bringing wave after wave of defenders in.
No doubt the biggest play of the game so far, that 60-yarder that set up the 5-yard touchdown scamper by Joe Plath. 3 wide to the right side. They'll give it inside to Gill again. Boy, he loves to hit that spin across the middle. Picked up about 4 more yards, and that'll bring up 3rd down and short.
Mansfield keeps giving it to Gill up the middle. I'd like to see them maybe move him outside a little bit more. Very elusive runner. When he can open up his legs, get moving. You see right there, another run up the gut. It'll be just enough for the 1st down, it looks.
A lot of faith in this offensive line to clear the way upfield. Mike Redding said, despite all those injuries at quarterback, running back, wide out, split end, we have a healthy offensive and defensive line, and if there's one thing we know about football, you've got to win the battle in the trenches. Check down into the flat, that's Matty Bone. Sure-handed on those quick hook routes. Essentially, that's like a run play on 1st down. Picks up 5 yards, high percentage completion. Clock continues running. Less than 1:15 remaining, and now Mansfield faces 2nd down and 5. Just on the edge of field goal range, leading 6-0 here. Trying to make it a 2-score game. Here goes Gill. He's got blockers upfield. Around left edge and dives down to the 10-yard line. They'll mark him out of bounds and stop the clock with 55 seconds remaining here in the 1st half.
I believe it was Kerrigan in that far cornerback position for the Warriors, and what a job by him. As you see, great blocking on the offensive end from Connor, and it's Kerrigan just busting through and doing just enough to trip up Gill. Might have saved a touchdown there, as looks like a timeout will be called. Mansfield still with 2 to burn, so I wouldn't be surprised if they took one there to try to figure out their offensive plan. Trying to punch it in here from just outside the 10.
A lot of good body language there from Mansfield. High fives and clapping hands all the way around. They'll gather around their head coach, Mike Redding, here as you take a look at the sit-go sign just down the street from Fenway Park, recently given historical landmark status. Part of this outstanding backdrop in the 89th football meeting between Mansfield and Foxborough. It's an honor to bring you this game live on Foxborough Cable Access. We thank you for tuning in. Feels a little bit different than that traditional Thanksgiving morning matchup. This is the 31st time that Jack Martinelli has matched up against Mike Redding. 2 coaches who go head-to-head and are willing to sacrifice so much to make this game the best it can be year in and year out. In fact, it was interesting talking with Jack Martinelli earlier today. He tells his players, look, This used to be a 365-day-a-year rivalry, but you have to remember that your lives will cross paths with a lot of these players down the line. There'll be Mansfield, Foxborough friendships, relationships down the line, and
It cuts in and out, I know.
you want to have a good taste in your mouth after this rivalry. On the stretch play, nothing doing. Warriors stack it up along the line of scrimmage. Rob Simon in there to stop Joe Plath.
Plath seems to be their go-to guy in the red zone. It's Sacco who gives it to him again here, but an excellent job defensively. Number 70, William Ogbabor. Excellent job just to keep the runner in front of him and bring him down there for no gain.
Ogbabor is such a handful. 6'3", 225 pounds, one of the larger players on this field. A lot of pride on this defensive side for Jack Martinelli. Tells his kids to think about those 5-second decisions. Football is all about those snap decisions. When you take all of that coaching and all that experience and decide in the moment what's the best play for you and your team.
So really what it's all about. These games can come down to just any split-second decision. So far, though, not too many wrong feet have been put for the Warrior defense. Just one big gain from Gill, maybe two if you want to count the one just a moment ago. But so far, it's pretty impressive. They've been able to hold the Hornets to 6 points, considering how much possession time Mansfield has had.
Second down and goal from the 11. Time to roll the pocket. Musette off his back foot, throws into the end zone, just a few inches wide of Sacco on the corner route. Nearly threaded the needle into the end zone, and that'll bring up third down and goal from the 11. Clock stops with 40 seconds to go. And at the very least, Foxborough has got to bear down and hold Mansfield to a field goal attempt. You get the feeling the way Foxborough's offense has struggled to move the ball that a 12 or 13 point lead could be devastating at this point in the game.
Just taking a quick look at that when you see Musette might have had some space to run if he thought he could outrun the defensive lineman. Instead opted to throw it for Sacco, who might have had just a little window, but it was a little one. Now they'll try to convert here a 3rd and 11.
3 wide, stacked to the left. Musette on a fade route to the corner, just a few inches wide again. Connor broke well. Maybe even been a little chip downfield here.
It's a well drawn up play against a zone defense. Connor had some space there, but just a little bit too far for him. Foxborough maybe dodging a bullet.
And every moment or so, when you watch a replay like that, you remember that we're here at Fenway Park. That ball ended up rolling into the triangle 420 feet away from home plate. A surreal atmosphere. Harvard Crimson still painted in the end zones here. And we'll get a timeout on the field with 35 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Foxborough is going to take the time to think it out.
It'll be a field goal attempted. At least that's the way Mansfield's setting up, but by high school standard, it's kind of a long one. So you wonder if Coach Martinelli is just saying, hey guys, let's be careful here. Might be a little bit of trickery dialed up from Coach Redding.
When I asked Jack Martinelli for some of his favorite memories in this rivalry against Mansfield, he took me back to the early 1990s, a frozen turf field at Memorial Field in Mansfield. A last-minute field goal by Mike Myers from Foxborough. Won that game by 3. For years with the old playoff system and Super Bowl system here in the state, this game hinged on who would advance in the tournament. The format has changed, of course, but this game still feels like a Super Bowl for both teams. And when you hear names like Mike Myers echoing through the ages, you know that a couple of these players tonight will be remembered in folklore in their respective hometowns.
Yeah, and having been at a couple pep rallies myself here as a graduate of Foxborough High School, you know how much it means to these guys. Every year, Coach Martinelli delivers a speech to the entire student body and talks about how big of a stage it is and how you can really put a name for yourself if you perform here. That's exactly what they're trying to do here tonight.
Here comes a 26-yard attempt. Kick is up. It is no good, wide left.
Yeah, it's a second hooked field goal. Just pulling it a little bit on the right foot, bringing it just outside that left upright. And again, Foxborough able to get away with it. The bend don't break defense, still just a 6 on the board, and real credit to Foxborough's defense, holding the Hornets to only 6 despite their territorial advantage really all half.
So Nico Holmes unable to convert. And we mentioned during the pregame show that Mike DeBolt, the second leading rusher for Mansfield and place kicker on this team, fractured his ankle in the third quarter against KP 10 days ago. Ruled out for this game. He's in a walking boot. And now Foxborough is going to just take it into halftime. They'll kneel over the football, and all things considered, Brady, as you said, a couple deep trips into the red zone by Mansfield, but only 6 points to show for it.
Yeah, I think if you're the Warriors, you got to be ecstatic with the scoreboard right now, because this game could easily be 20-0 in favor of Mansfield. They've just had so many quality opportunities going forward into the Foxborough defensive half, but unable to put it in the end zone. So still just a one-score game, all to play for here in the final 22 minutes. Heading into halftime now, and you're sure that both coaches will have some points that they'd like to improve on as we hit the final half.
So the Foxborough Warriors head to their dugout on the third base side, where they will file into the locker room. And on the other side, the Mansfield Hornets celebrate as they make their way off the field into the first base side dugout. At halftime here at historic Fenway Park, it's Mansfield 6, Foxborough 0. We're getting set for the halftime festivities. The Foxborough Marching Band is taking the field. We'll step aside and come back with you after this. You're watching Foxborough Cable Access.
big hand and thank you to that Foxborough Warrior marching band. And now, please welcome the Mansfield High School Marching Band and Color Guard. How about a big hand for a great job by the Mansfield High School Marching Band and Color Guard.
So we are just minutes away here from the second half of this Thanksgiving rivalry game. I'm joined now by a senior captain of the Warriors, Andrew Longa. Andrew, thank you for joining us here.
It's great to be here.
Obviously must be unfortunate not to be out there on the field, but an excellent opportunity for your team here playing at Fenway Park.
I know, it's absolutely insane to be able to come down onto this historic field and be able to play down here where other great players have played. There was the Harvard game last weekend. There's 3 other teams playing games here. It's really an amazing experience for everyone on the team.
Yeah, it's not been an easy season for your team this year, but you got to be happy with the way the guys have done so far, keeping it to 1-score game here in the first half.
Yeah, our defense is really stepping it up. We're doing well. We've got a lot of stops, got some takeaways. Our offense, we just need to work on better passes and just catching the ball. We've had a lot of trouble. I think it might be because of the temperature. It's a bit cold out. It's the coldest game we've had so far this year, but I think we can pick it up, adjust for the second half, and do better.
And on the Mansfield side of the ball, what do you think is the biggest adjustment that your team needs to make taking on that team?
Their running back, number 2, really good player, hard to tackle, stays up fast. We really need to make sure we have someone on him to make sure that he's covered at all times.
Alrighty, well, thank you again very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck to your team the rest of the way.
All right.
We'll be right back here for the second half of this game.
And the second half is underway here at Fenway Park. Foxborough won the opening toss and deferred to the second half. So the Warriors will start first, trailing 6-0 against Mansfield. We welcome you back to historic Fenway Park in Boston, the 89th football matchup all time between the Warriors and the Hornets. I'm Kevin Gale, pleased to be joined by Brady Gardner. And Brady, just 1 touchdown in the first half. The difference so far, Joe Plath from 5 yards out. Problem is for Foxborough, the offense had trouble getting started in the first 22 minutes of game action.
That's right, and it all starts right here. What can they do here on this opening half? You come out of halftime, you're talking over some strategy with your team in the locker room there. What can you do to try to even up the score here early in this second half and avoid playing from behind as this game goes on?
I think that's a good place to start. A screen pass to Rob Fay. High percentage play. Just trying to get that ball into the hands of playmakers at some of those skill positions. And as you said, a pickup of 11 yards, and that's good enough for a first down.
First time we've heard Fay's name here tonight. A player that led the team in touchdown receptions with 3 during the regular season. Now he's trying to get involved here. Not sure he even saw a target in that first half, but clearly it's a point they're trying to make to get him the ball here.
Low snap collected quickly and then knocked out of the air. On another throw toward the flat, TJ Guy got his arm extended, and the sophomore's been all over the place tonight.
Well, you just look at Guy, and he stands head and shoulders above other players on that offensive line, and only a sophomore. Take a look at this one. Just bowling his way right in there, getting that big hand up and swatting it down. He's going to be a special player here the next 2 years with this Mansfield program.
Great lesson to learn for defensive linemen. You don't have to sack the quarterback to make a difference along that line of scrimmage. Get that paw up in the air. Handoff goes straight up the gut. And Foley faked like he was going to take it around left edge. Minimal gain on the play.
This is where Foxborough struggled, though, in the first half. These 3rd and long situations, sometimes caused by drives struggling or penalty calls going against them. Let's see how they can try to change things here, though. Not sure they had a single 3rd down conversion, if I remember correctly, in that first half. Can they get one here?
Foley with 2 wide receivers to his right. He's joined in the backfield by Mike Luong. Essentially his safety blanket in the first half, and now we'll get a timeout called. from the Mansfield sideline. We could hear some of the coordinators in the booth next door upset with how long it took that timeout to get called, and like they didn't have the right personnel to face this 3rd down and 9 upcoming. Foxborough backed up at its own 33-yard line. So you get the feeling that Mike Redding's squad knows it left a few points on the field, a missed extra point, a missed field goal just before halftime. And a 2-score game feels a whole lot bigger against a Warriors squad that picked up less than 100 yards of total offense in the first half.
Let's not forget the lost fumble for Mansfield just inside the 30-yard line. They've had opportunities, but they've not been able to cash in on them.
Foley looking downfield, evades the pressure from the backside, throws it up into a crowd. It's complete, off a deflection. Warriors make a big play down the field. Maybe a little bit of good luck there for Rob Fay, but he comes down with the football. 1st down and 10 for the Warriors at the Mansfield 27-yard line.
Well, sometimes it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work, and right there, certainly not how they drew it up. You see Foley rolling out as he has several times tonight, just launching it deep to where he had some guys, and it found the hands of one receiver.
Oh, that was Ryan Hughes, who appeared to win that 3 flies up battle above the crowd, and it bounced right off his hands into the waiting arms of Rob Fay. How about that for a way to flip the field? Warriors come crashing into the red zone for the first time tonight. They look like a dangerous team on offense. That was Keyshawn Sanders picking up 10 yards on 1st down, move the chains.
That's exactly the kind of play that can get your team going. The first long gain of this game, and by far, really. Rob Fay being there at the right place, right time to catch it off the hands of Hughes. And now the Warriors are in business.
Onto that temporary grass, covering the Red Sox infield dirt. How surreal is that? Handoff right behind center. It looks like a pickup of about 3 yards on the play. Last man up off the bottom of that pile. Martin McElroy, who picked up an interception in the first half. I'll bring up 2nd down and 7. Deepest trip into Mansfield territory tonight for the Warriors. In fact, we didn't see any of the first half played on this end of the field. Foxborough cheerleaders thrilled to see some action happening in front of them. Little cut back down to the 11-yard line. And that'll bring up 3rd down and about 5 yards to go. Playbook should be wide open after the take by Kerrigan.
And this is exactly where Foxborough needs to find something here. This 3rd down in dangerous territory. They know they're not going to get many opportunities this close to the Mansfield end zone. Got to find a way to put it in that end zone here. We'll see what they're able to dial up on 3rd and 5.
Mansfield dominated the first half, but 1 score here, and Foxborough's right back in it. They give it off right up the middle. Twisting, falling forward, Mike Leong. There is a penalty flag on the field. He's marked short of the line to gain. Needed 5, picked up about 3. Foxborough is pointing at Mansfield, so this could be a critical call here.
And the run was nowhere near the 1st down marker, so this could be huge for the Warriors if the foul is indeed against Mansfield.
Personal foul, face mask against Mansfield.
That is a gift. You see it there on the replay. Yeah, he got him on the face mask. 3 referees spotted it, so no doubt on that one.
The umpire threw his flag right away, standing right over the top of the action. Half the distance to the goal penalty and an automatic 1st down. Warriors inside the 5 for the first time today. 3 backs, trailing Foley. Handoff up the middle to the goal line. Is he in? No, he's short, marked at the 1-yard line.
Foxborough is trying to power their way in on the give there.
Mike Luong went barreling forward, had a lead blocker joining him as well.
Gonna try it again.
And this is prototypical Foxborough football. A lot of options out of the backfield. Foley goes back to Luong. He's in. Foxborough cashes in a touchdown at Fenway. It's a 6-6 ball game, and we're back to square one here in the third quarter.
And what a way to come out of the halftime break, evening it up here 6-6 and potentially taking the lead here with a Russell Neal extra point. Luong, really no competition there to get into the end zone after a good hole was created from his offensive line. And here we are, 6-6.
Russell Neal boots it up. No good. Pulled it left. This game stays tied 6-all with 6:34 to go in the third. And missed kicks have become the story of this game. Let's go back to Luong on the goal line. Reaches out. Too easy. Followed some great blocks, and that's a touchdown that this senior will never forget. Right around the pitcher's mound here at Fenway Park, where the Red Sox took home the World Series title earlier this fall. So after all that Mansfield success in the first half, this game is tied in the third quarter.
Let's just get one more look at that touchdown here. Get a good chance to just see what's going on there on the line. Foxborough just making enough of a gap for Luong to slide right through uncontested. Well, we talked about the response for Foxborough. What would it be going down early to Mansfield? How could they get back into it? Well, they have. They've tied it back up, but now what's Mansfield's response? After Foxborough got a little bit lucky there getting down the field with that long pass. This is a squib kick here. What's Mansfield going to do on this possession?
Right down Broadway for Gill. Went head on into a tackle, and look at the Warriors corral the return man. All of a sudden, a little bit more pep in the step of Foxborough. And the Hornets find themselves in a tie ball game as the offense heads back out onto the field. And we talked so much about how Foxborough was struggling to stretch the field offensively, but even though Mansfield had more time of possession in the first half, the Hornets also struggled to threaten downfield. It was just one long 60-yard run from the line of scrimmage by Sincere Gill that helped flip the field and lead to that Platt touchdown.
Yeah, and after talking with Andrew Longa at halftime, it seems like the main guy on Foxborough's minds is Gill. He was the danger in that first half, and he's the one to look out for.
Sacco faked the handoff to Gill. He's around the right edge, lowers his head, running the sideline. He's gone. Touchdown Mansfield. What an answer by the Hornets. From 68 yards away, Sacco changes this game with one play. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
a game that was stagnant for most of the first half has turned into a whole lot of fun here in the third.
Yeah, all of a sudden, big plays on both sides. And how about Sacco? All he's been through this season, started as a running back, all of a sudden thrust into the quarterback position, gets the keeper there and takes it all the way. About a 70-yard run. Ended with a foot race there, beating the Foxborough secondary. You see him wheeling away in celebration after that. Certainly means a lot here. Not only getting his team in the lead, doing it at Fenway, doing it on Thanksgiving. What a moment for him.
Gill is on to attempt the extra point, and he knocks it through. So Mansfield opting for a new kicker in the second half, and it pays off beautifully. Mansfield 13, Foxborough 6. After this long distance run by Aiden Sacco.
Well, it's a drawn up keeper. No intent ever on giving it to Gill. Just a little bit of a decoy there from Mansfield's number 2, but Sacco knew exactly where he wanted to take that. The gap opened up for him, worked to perfection, and all of a sudden Mansfield, just like that, back in the lead. That tie game did not last very long.
Oh, they sealed off the edge so well, opened up the space for Sacco to take it all the way into the end zone, as you see our crew working hard upstairs to bring you these pictures and sounds from historic Fenway Park. A night that these players, these coaches, these fans, and these broadcasters will never forget. Get a look downstairs at the Foxborough faithful. They're a little bit stunned after that huge run on first down. Mansfield backed up in its own half of the field. And what an answer. They've had to show so much depth. That's a former running back turned quarterback. Now you've got a wide receiver slash running back slash kicker booting through the extra point and then delivered a nice high end-over-end kickoff, and the Warriors will take it at the 28-yard line to start the next offensive drive. And boy, what does Jack Martinelli and his team have in store next, because this turned into a shootout.
Yeah, it really has, and you see, I think it might be Phil Thomas into the game for the Warriors. Well, possibly not here. It's kind of difficult to tell who it might be from this high angle here at Fenway Park. Looks like it will be Foley continuing. He had a good drive there to start off the second half. Got the benefit of a nice little bounce there on his longest pass play, but got his team down the field, and that's all they asked of him.
Foley on the rollout. Evades a couple rushers, throws back across his body. It's tipped, and it's incomplete. Oh, Gill nearly came away with an interception. That's a really dangerous play to throw back across your body on the move into a sea of black jerseys for Mansfield.
Yeah, and it's just so enticing to do that. You see him running all the way across to the right and then trying to fire to the left just because it seems like there's so much empty space over there, but you don't factor in that your momentum's going the wrong way and that your team has followed you to the right side. Next thing you know, you're throwing it into a zone with more defenders than attackers. Got a little bit lucky with that one as it slipped through the hands of the secondary member for Mansfield.
A lot of misdirection in the backfield. It ends up in the hands of Brian Durba. He's out across the first down line to gain. Pushed out a play at the 37-yard line, and now they're actually going to mark him just 1 yard short.
That's Durba again getting involved in the ground game, and another one of those little reverse plays going on. We saw one of those in the first half, which also had similar success. So Foxborough taking the benefit of a little bit of trickery there, trying to get things going on the ground where it's been difficult to come by up the middle.
Clock running, less than 5.5 to go here in the third quarter. What a rivalry meeting this is here in Boston on a frigid Tuesday night. Foley into the flat, that's complete, into the hands of Rob Fay. They have picked up about 2 yards on the pass and catch.
All of a sudden, Fay with 3 receptions here in the opening 6 minutes of the third quarter. After not having a single one in the first half, you can see them getting involved here in the screen passes with Fay. Just trying to get it in the hands of a playmaker. That's what it's all about. Get it to the guys that you can trust with the ball in their hands to make things happen. That's what they're trying to do with these screen passes to Fay.
Four wideouts this time. Durba comes in motion. Foley looks his way. Pump fakes, throws deep into triple coverage, and luckily that's overthrown. The intended target was Durba, who released out of the backfield. So more important than anything is ball protection now. You know both teams are excited to make plays and create some historic moments in this rivalry that nearly dates back 90 years. But you've got to be careful, especially here in the second half.
Yeah, it seemed like Foley trying to match his quarterback counterpart after Sacco had a big play of his own. Foley trying to do the same, but throwing it into triple coverage down the field. Not really a recipe for success. Now he's facing yet another 3rd and long.
3rd down and 8 from the 40. Foley rolls, steps up. He's got room to run. Looking at the sticks, he pulls up at the 42-yard line. And a little bit of indecision there as we get flags flying and a late hit upcoming against Mansfield. It's going to be another costly penalty. We've seen this on both sides throughout the game. Motion and intensity getting the better of some of these young players. You know they want so badly to make a game-changing play, but this is a quarterback who was piled on a little bit late as you see another body go flying there. You wonder if actually maybe this will go against Foxborough.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it's Tom Cullen who's going to get called for that one. Referees are going to have a big talk about it. If this goes in Foxborough's favor somehow, it's a major let-off. Referee It'll be on Foxborough.
In fact, there will be personal fouls on both sides as we expected. So, offsetting penalties brings up 3rd down and 8 yards again. So they'll replay the down.
Yeah, Foxborough a little bit fortunate there. Seemed like it might have been Culligan who instigated it, but then the follow-up reaction from the Mansfield defender draws the flag on Mansfield. So that'll negate both penalties, and we'll do it all over again. 4 minutes, 20 seconds left in this 3rd quarter. Mansfield ahead by 7 points. Foxborough trying to bring this back even. Getting a long delay here, though. A little bit of confusion, it seems, on the benches, and the officials just trying to sort it out.
We were told from the sidelines during halftime that both coaching staffs have been prodding and asking this officiating crew about why so many flags have been thrown in this game so far. You can tell these officials are trying to keep this rivalry under control.
I don't know if I love that, though. I mean, maybe I'm just the football fan that wants to, let the boys play and all that, but I mean, it's your Thanksgiving game. You sometimes just got to swallow the whistle and let the teams fight it out.
It was funny, Jack Martinelli was joking that there were days in this rivalry when players would meet up, try and settle some differences in the Wendy's or Dairy Queen parking lot. And of course, there's still a lot of passion and enthusiasm for this rivalry, but a lot more respect shown between these two teams in recent years. In fact, he says a lot of the jawing back and forth now happens on social media. So for a head coach who's been in the game 37 years, he kind of laughed and shook his head, trying to understand how the rivalry has gone online in this year 2018. So much anticipation before this game. It's the last contest for both sides. Foxborough trying to pick up a 5th win this year. We mentioned Mansfield, of course, upended 10-7 in a wet, cold slugfest against King Philip in the D2 state semifinals. Mike Redding was saying even if his team had won, he wasn't quite sure they had the depth with all the injuries and illness to compete in the Super Bowl at Gillette.
Somehow
no excuses here tonight against Foxborough as this one's booted high end over end by Liam Foley. It's down just inside the 30-yard line, and Mansfield will take over, leading 13-6 here in the 3rd quarter.
Somehow, after all that, it ended up being 4th and 4 for the Warriors, so a little bit of change of minds of the officials. So Foxborough forced to punt it away and give the ball back to Mansfield, who leads by 4.
2 touchdowns scored here in the 3rd quarter, essentially on back-to-back plays. Goal line dive by Mike Luong for Foxborough, tied it up at 6-all. And then on the ensuing possession, a 1st down, 68-yard run on a quarterback keeper from Aiden Sacco. Looks like it's going to be Jack Musette, part of this 2-quarterback system for Mansfield, but flags before the snap. Could this be another procedure penalty?
Love to get a count of how many penalties we've had. Kind of taking a bit of flow out of this game.
You said it right. It's been hard to pick up a rhythm offensively on both sides, as good as the defenses have been. It's really just a lack of offensive awareness and discipline, so it'll be a defensive penalty this time. A legal substitution is the call against Foxborough. So it'll bring up 1st down and 5 for Mansfield, spreading it out with 3 wide left. Musette gives it straight up the gut. Rolling forward for a couple yards is Joe Plath, who had the first score of the game.
Plath, a real hard runner. We saw it on his touchdown run. Just puts his head down and drives in. Not really the kind of guy that's going to blow you away with his speed, but just tough to bring down, as you see it there. Took a couple Warriors to finally get him on the ground.
Good wrap tackle by Mike Sheehan on the play. First down and 10 now at the 39-yard line. Musette will stay in at quarterback. It appears Mansfield's been opting for one quarterback per series, trying to let them get a rhythm. Nearly a one-handed catch along the barrier there. Connor got the arm extended, but was pushed into the boundary. Incomplete. No flag on the play. Good downfield defending that time by the Warriors. Dropping back into coverage was Shane Kerrigan.
Kind of surprised with the struggles in the passing game for both teams. Just neither team really able to find that connection, as it seemed like there was some space out there for the receiver. But Musette just unable to find him. That's been the story on both ends. Of course, Foxborough with a big reception just a few minutes ago that led to their score earlier in this quarter. But other than that, not much going in the passing game.
Things have really calmed down now after those critical scoring plays knotted up the game. Plath gobbling up yards again right between the hashes. They'll bring up 3rd down and 8 from the 41-yard line.
That's a gain of 2
If you're the Foxborough defense, you've got to get off the field here.
from the 41.
Let your offense try to get something going and give them that fairly decent field position they'd likely get. With Mansfield currently just outside their own 40.
Mansfield averaging 25.5 points per game. Musette looking for a target. He throws complete to Gill.
Musette's pass is complete.
Gobbled up in traffic, but enough for the first down. Kyle Parker dropped him to the turf, but it's a gain of 12 and move those chains.
Who but Sincere Gill? He's done it all for him. Had some big runs earlier, and now he's showing up in the passing game. Just does a good job of cutting and coming back to the ball, securing the catch, and then knowing that he's made the first down yardage, goes down with the first down in hand.
Hornets marching their way into shallow right field here at Fenway Park. And now we'll get whistles and a timeout called. Mike Redding and the Mansfield Hornets are going to take a little extra time here to figure out what's next. Each team given 5 timeouts per half. Both teams nearly exhausted those timeouts in the first half. It was hard to get a rhythm in this game, but it feels like now both teams are loosening up. A couple big offensive plays have allowed both teams to build some momentum, some confidence, and as the Hornets creep into Foxborough territory, it feels again like the Warriors need to stop here to stay within reach. 2 scores, a whole lot more in a defensive struggle like this.
Well, I talked about it earlier. The Warriors win games when they keep their teams to low numbers. All their wins have come when their opposition have scored 14 points or less, while Mansfield's currently at 13, so we still have a chance to stay at that trend.
Musette lost the football. Foxborough gets on top of it first. They've ruled it a fumble and a recovery for the Warriors. That ball hit a lot of hands, but Mike Sheehan came up with it.
And once again, the Warrior defense coming up big. Let's take a quick look at it here. Musette in the backfield, trying to find someone to flip it to, but just doesn't make up his decision in time. It squirts around a little bit. And then all of a sudden, there's Sheehan falling on it for the Warriors. Next thing you know, they're on the 45 and looking to capitalize.
Sacco tried at the last minute to pitch that ball, or should I say Musette tried to pitch it to Sacco. And as the pressure was coming, looked like he may have even tried to tuck it. Dare I say tuck rule? Here's a handoff and a deep throw. Downfield, off the fingertips, but flags fly. This could be defensive pass interference against Mansfield. The target had come free. Rob Fay downfield. Was a little underthrown by Shane Kerrigan, but believe it or not, that underthrown ball may have led to the PI.
That's kind of how it works sometimes in football. As you see, Coach Martinelli digging deep into the playbook. As it ends up being Kerrigan who chucks it.
Oh, and that's bad luck for the Mansfield secondary. Christian Connor just looking for that ball in the air, went through the wide receiver, and that'll be a 15-yard penalty against the Hornets. So the ball is spotted inside Mansfield territory at the 30.
See it one more time here. That long ball coming in. The flag's thrown after the big contact there.
Flag flies at the snap. Handoff between the hashes. We'll wait to get the penalty call on this play after Keyshawn Sanders picked up about 8 yards on first down. What a change this could be for the Warriors. Chance to tie this game for the second time here in the second half.
Well, the last time their defense got a turnover for them, they weren't able to turn it into points. They're looking to do it a little bit differently this time. Gotta credit the defense. The amount of time that they've spent on the field taking on that very dangerous Mansfield offense. They've done an excellent job to hold them to 13 points. Now it's the offensive turn to carry some of the load.
Offsides was the call. It was accepted, so wipe away the first down yardage. That'll bring up first down and 5. Good option there. You want the extra downs. Keeper all the way. Foley galloping down to the 15, nearly to the 10. Found a seam and hit the hole hard. Jack Berry brought him down and may have prevented a touchdown.
Yeah, it's a written quarterback draw there. Foley, never any intent to give it to anyone, but keep it in his own hands. We'll take another quick look at it. Immediately just uses his running back as a lead blocker and finds that hole, exploits it for double-digit gain.
Second trip into the red zone tonight. Foxborough's 1 for 1 with a touchdown. 2 wide receivers stacked to the left side. Foley hands it off around right edge. Probing, looking for space. McElroy, and he's pushed to the boundary, out of bounds. He may have gained 1 yard on the play. And in fact, correction, that was good. I don't know, was it McElroy? Not quite sure. It's been tough. Yes, it's Sanders. It's been so tough to see these numbers from upstairs. Gold on white, sort of a broadcaster's nightmare.
Well, you can't complain. You know, you're doing a game at Fenway Park and one of 4 high school football games going on here.
So rarely do you call a high school football game from this far away. We're in a luxury suite, first base side. Looking down at what's typically the infield here at Fenway Park. Double handoff, minimal gain. Maybe 1 on the play. Good play design, but sniffed out by Mansfield as Durba rolled forward as far as he could.
Yeah, Foxborough just trying to do anything they can to throw off the Mansfield defense. We talked about how Coach Redding really admired the defensive job that Coach Martinelli does on the Foxborough side. He's such a defensive genius and always comes up with difficult schemes to go against. Well, he's showing some of his prowess on the offensive side now, dialing up some of these plays to try to give the defense more concerns.
Kerrigan and Fay to the right. Luong in the backfield. Pressure comes right down Broadway. It's complete at the 10, spun down to the 6. So Luong picks up a couple yards, and that'll bring up 4th down and about 3 yards to go as we reach the end of the 3rd quarter. This could be a very interesting decision with the ball spotted very close to the uprights on that right hash. Is Foxborough brave enough to try and go for this 4th down and short deep in Mansfield territory?
Well, I say that's a very encouraging 11 minutes from the Warriors there to start the second half. Obviously got the touchdown on the board early, but Mansfield able to kind of make a response there quickly and get their lead back. And of course, Foxborough now coming up with a nice drive, trying to catch back up here with the Hornets, who lead 13-6.
So a very busy 3rd quarter. The game tied up 6-all on a 1-yard touchdown run by Mike Luong, and then an immediate answer on the other side by Aiden Sacco. He went 68 yards to the end zone on a quarterback keeper. A dynamic quarter of football, and this rivalry heads to the 4th quarter, separated by just 1 score. Foxborough down 7. It's been such a battle to get this deep in Hornet territory, you wonder if a 4th down attempt is upcoming. How brave does Jack Martinelli want to be?
This is the kind of game you just got to put it all on the line, really. Nothing to hold back. So I'm not surprised to see him keep his offense on the field here.
I really like this decision from the 37th year head coach. He's forgotten more football than most of us will ever know. More than 30 years of rivalry between Jack Martinelli and Mike Redding, two of the all-time good guys in Massachusetts high school football. And we go to the 4th quarter in a nail-biter here at Fenway. 4th down and 4 from the 6-yard line. Foley out of the short shotgun, brings a man in motion, fakes the handoff, throws into the end zone, off the hands of the intended receiver. Inches away from a score. Luong couldn't hold on, but hang on a moment. There's a flag down on the far side of the field.
This could be a real lifeline for the Warriors, depending what the call ends up being, but let's take a quick look at that in the meantime. Foley did an excellent job of finding him. Luong did everything right. Got in the right spot, got his hands in front of him, but just could not corral it. And another flag flies, and another. What is going on?
Foxborough clapping its hands. Offsides is the call against the Hornets. A penalty good for 5 yards. That'll give Foxborough the 1st down. And then we saw flags fly in after the offside signal was delivered. So you have to wonder, this might be unsportsmanlike conduct after that borderline decision by this officiating crew. They've had their hands full tonight.
Yeah, and both coaches cannot be happy with the discipline on both sides. Both teams have done so much well, but the one thing has just been these penalties that just keep adding up.
So offsides and unsportsmanlike conduct assessed to the Hornets with their backs against the goal line. That's why Jack Martinelli rolled the dice and went for it on 4th down. An incomplete pass intended for Mike Luong, but 2 penalties charged to the Hornets set up the Warriors. 1st down and goal from the 1-yard line. The last time they were down here, they went right up the gut. Foley under center, straight up Broadway, he's in! Touchdown, Mike Luong, his 2nd goal line dive tonight, and an extra point will tie up this game.
Well, Luong's their go-to guy in the red zone, and once again he gets the call. Just dives it in from short range. And how about that from the Warriors? Gutsy call to go for it on 4th down, paid off for them with the penalties called. And just like that, they have an opportunity to tie it up here, but as we saw earlier this half, it's not a guarantee. The extra point, not the easiest thing ever in high school football. But Russell Neal, a proven kicker for this Foxborough team, I believe a 3-year varsity kicker.
So a long conversation here by Jack Martinelli and his staff. They're going to call timeout and think longer about how they want to handle this.
Interesting.
But for Luong, now 8 rushing touchdowns this year, 2 of his 8 tonight at historic Fenway Park. Luong creeping towards 700 yards this year on the ground, and he is old, reliable, deep in the red zone.
And once again, that 3-back set, as you saw there, just clearing the way for Luong as the running backs on each side of him kind of converge, almost act as 2 fullbacks. Opens it up for Luong to just fall right into the end zone. A little interesting here. Very rarely see a timeout called in advance of an extra point. So you got to think Foxborough's coming up with something sneaky. Wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing the offense come out and trying to play for the lead here. Certainly is not an easy night to be a field goal kicker. Temperatures hovering right around freezing.
And I'll tell you this, Brady. As well as the Foxborough defense has played, you wonder in some ways if Jack Martinelli is thinking, we may not need to touch the ball again if we can plug in 2 points here, take a 14-13 lead, and wither away the fourth quarter.
I mean, you're asking a lot of your defense in that case, but I think it's good to be aggressive, especially when you're kind of an underdog as Foxborough is here tonight. Here we go.
3 backs behind Foley, the usual suspects. Foley goes to Luong, follows his blockers, gets a push from behind, surging, driving, legs moving. 2 points for Foxborough. What a play at the goal line. All 11 players working together to give Foxborough its first lead here at Fenway.
You said it right, 11 players behind the ball. Luong just churning the legs and just everybody getting behind him. I think we even saw the quarterback Foley come in, give a second push. Just trying to work that pile.
And there were a couple opportunities there for the officials to blow their whistles, but well done to let that play develop as the Warriors went to war in that line of scrimmage.
I was waiting for a whistle there. Normally in those big scrums, you just hear the whistle go because they assume, 11 guys pushing against 11 guys. It's going to cancel each other out, but credit to Foxborough. That second effort to get Luong into the end zone, and next thing you know, Foxborough taking the lead, 14-13. So far, sticking that narrative, when they win games, they keep their opponents under 14. Mansfield sitting at 13, so we're following that script. But if you're Mansfield, they've won most of their games when they get 20 points or more, so if they can manage another touchdown, things could be looking good historically for them. Of course, when you get into this Thanksgiving rivalry game, pretty much anything is fair game.
Well, you said it right. Gill following his blocker up the field. He's got a seam, just the kicker to beat. Gill is gone, but there's a flag.
Oh boy.
At the 30-yard line. Gill's in the end zone, but this one might be coming back. He was clear. He had a seam to the house and an illegal block that may not have been necessary. We'll bring it back.
Wow. I mean, we have to wait for confirmation with the official, but we'll look for it. Again, it's Gill, the playmaker, the man to watch. Making the run out here to the left side.
Anthony Comer set such a good block. You can see him looking around. There's nobody downfield. But somebody may have gotten the arms extended and
here's the call.
Committed an illegal block in the back.
Yes, it is. Block in the back on Mansfield. That is a heartbreaker for the Hornets. No need for it. You're taking on the kicker. And something like that where you're just trying to help your runner and secure it.
Well, they just showed the replay here at Fenway, and it didn't seem like there was much there. So a critical call goes against Mansfield, and listen to both fan bases come to life. Foxborough pumping it up from the far side of the field. The Mansfield staff under Mike Redding all the way out to the numbers. They can't believe that blocking infraction. And again, we won't comment too extensively on officiating, but we've seen a whole lot of penalties called tonight. This should have been a return touchdown for Sincere Gill.
Where is it?
Well, it actually comes down the field a little bit further. Here's the kicker coming into the picture. That's Russell Neal, and
wow.
Like shoulder-to-shoulder contact.
Right after he says we won't speculate about the officiating. We're getting a little thought there.
So, critical drive now for Mansfield, trailing 14-13. Keeper, left edge, Sacco. 4 Warriors come his way, but he picked up 6. And this place has turned electric.
This is what the Foxborough-Mansfield rivalry is all about.
Yeah, it took a while for these teams to get engaged.
Big play after big play. The fans are into it. It's loud here at Fenway. From our vantage point, we can only see empty red, blue, and green seats in front of us, but you know that below us, it's got to be chaotic down there in the fan section.
Big turnout for both Mansfield and Foxborough. 2nd down and 5 from the 37. Quick stutter step and go. Connor gets his way upfield. He's got the first down out to the 31-yard line.
Christian Connor, a name we haven't said much of here in the second half. He does it all for this team on special teams, offense and defense. Was a big pass catcher for them during the regular season. Right there, he gets the carry, able to make something happen with his legs. As we see it again, finding that seam, able to bounce it outside. Done a good job defensively by a pair of Warrior defenders to meet him.
Sacco brings a man in motion. Fakes the give to Gill. Sidesteps, tumbles forward, picked up about 3 yards. Did well to get downfield when it looked like he may have been dropped for a loss. Had to make a couple moves at the line of scrimmage.
Almost seems like Foxborough is just starting to gain an understanding of the Mansfield scheme a little bit, though, on these designed runs for Sacco. He tries to bring him up the middle, does a little bit of hesitation to just find where the hole will develop. But Foxborough does a good job of just keeping everything in front of them and holding Sacco to short gains.
2 touchdowns by Mike Luong, the difference so far for Foxborough. Leading by 1 point, 8:23 to go. Mansfield driving. Second down and long. Gill, designed run. He's got the first down. Stays so patient, trailing his blockers. And then when he sees the hole, he can accelerate with effortless speed.
And we are seeing some very hard running from the Hornets. Maybe a little bit of a chip on their shoulder there, feeling hard done by that call on the kickoff return that would have gone for a touchdown. Now you see the likes of Gill and Connor maybe putting that second gear in as they go into these carries.
We said early in the game that we've got a snap over the head of Sacco. Mansfield has to fall on top of it back at the 41.
And these breaks for Foxborough. And how about Mansfield? Just, you think they're starting to get things going the right direction, and then something like that. Snap just over his head. You're in the shotgun. That's always a risk. You know, maybe the hands are cold, and you're not sure what's happening really, but all of a sudden, you know, snap just ends up over your quarterback, and here we are with the second and forever, it seems.
Second down and nearly 30 to go. Ball is spotted just outside the 40. Mansfield has to get down to the 11-yard line. Now a timeout is called. Both teams get a chance to catch their breaths. Don't forget, this drive could have been over before it started. Mansfield got what it believed was a return touchdown from Sincere Gill, who already ripped off a 60-yard run back in the first half. It was called back due to an illegal block. And then a snap over the head of Sacco has backed up Mansfield. Dominant in the first half, long stretches of possession, but Foxborough's defense, time and time again, made the plays to stay within reach. And now here we are in a 1-point game late in the fourth.
This is exactly what you want out of these rivalry games. Drama, big plays. We've had it all, really. And it's setting up to be a thrilling final 7 minutes.
Gill gets hog-tied at the line of scrimmage. Excellent tackle on the play by William Ogbabor. The big boy got that arm extended and hugged his man down to the ground.
Yeah, Ogbabor just such a force in the middle there for the Warriors. Just wrapping out that big arm of his, taking down Gill. No easy guy to take down. Ogbabor made it look easy.
Third down and 26 for Mansfield.
I'd expect a long pass here.
Mousset uncorks it. Complete to the 25. Off a turn. Looking for more space is Connor. And he's back to the original line of scrimmage. So that'll bring up fourth down and about 10 yards. And we ask again, without kicker Mike DeBolt available, is this another fourth down conversion decision? It looks like for now the offense is out there.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever really any doubt if they'd go for this one. I think the last play, or almost acting as if it was a second down, just kind of a setup play here for fourth. All comes down to this one.
Musette out of the shotgun. He has to have it. Throws to the near sideline. Well short of the sticks. Wiggling forward. Close to the line to gain is Connor. Did he get there? No, they mark him short. Needed 9, picked up 7. Brian Durba on the pursuit. And this is going to be a turnover on downs. The ball handed right back to the Warriors. And what a stand. After the kickoff return touchdown was wiped away and a snap over Sacco's head, somehow Foxborough stays in the lead, 14-13.
Musette, good job getting it into the hands of a playmaker and Connor there, and it's Patrick Stapleton who bounces him out of bounds. Looks like on this near sideline.
Around Durba, but he got just enough of a piece of him to slow him down. So here we go. If the Warriors can melt this clock away, put together a long drive, they'll be in business, but not the start that Foxborough wanted. Nick Marciano got there first.
This is where it gets tricky, though, in terms of play calling, because you know you want to grind out the clock, and you've got 5.5 left, so you want to keep it on the ground, keep that clock running. But at the same time, you want to pick up enough yards that you can get a sustained drive going on here. You know, if you're just running 2-yard gains, well, that's not going to cut it. You're going to end up giving it back to Mansfield with about 3 to play. But then, of course, you risk, if you pass it, sure, you might get some more yards, but also risk a big interception at a terrible place and a terrible time. It's all this chess game that every coach plays here in these late stages.
Kerrigan came out of motion, released upfield, throw to the boundary. Durba got his hands on it. Did he bring it in? Yes, he did. A sensational catch in front of the Foxborough bench.
What a catch it was. Got to take a look at this one. Again, Foley rolling out, putting a beautiful spiral. Looks to be Durba reaching out. Does he get both feet?
All he needs is one.
Actually, he only needs one, and he did. How about that? Brian Durba, someone who's been so good offensively for the Warriors, and proves it right there.
Durba with the dive, but how about the touch pass from Liam Foley to split the coverage?
Got to give a lot of credit to Foley. You see a run up the middle, nothing really doing for the Warriors, just chewing up some clock. But Foley, you know, a guy who started this season with some big hopes and dreams as this starting quarterback in his first season at the helm for the Warriors. And, of course, saw his job in a little bit of jeopardy as Phil Thomas came along and provided a nice little spark for the Warriors late in the year. The two did a good job platooning there. So credit to Thomas, of course, on what he was able to do and help that little win streak that the Warriors had towards the end. But now it's Foley just taking command here, putting together a beautiful second half with some excellent throws, just like the one we saw right there.
Mansfield has won 9 of the last 11 Thanksgiving meetings against its rival, Foxborough, trying to change that tonight here at Fenway. Ball popped loose, but it was after it hit the ground. Good reliable run there from Shane Kerrigan.
Maybe Kerrigan not really too happy with his night so far. Maybe would have thought that he could have had more receptions, but he's done such a good job on the run game, just providing that second look on these little crossing runs as Foley fakes the draw and then gives it off to Kerrigan. And that's all you need, just a good 4-yard gain, keep the clock running. Obviously a timeout taken, so clock had to stop, but that's exactly what Foxborough needs at this stage in the game.
Clock stops with 4:01 to go. Foxborough 14, Mansfield 13. And as you said, it'll be a 3rd down and 3 upcoming to try and keep the drive alive for the Warriors. Well, we talked earlier about some of the high points in this rivalry for both coaches. I asked them as well about some of the games that they'll never forget. How about 2006, a 10-0 Mansfield team had to win to get into the Super Bowl playoffs. It was a rainy, windy day at home. A 14-6 heartbreaker, as Mike Redding described it, to be 1 game away from the state title game. He lost a lot of sleep over that one. He credited Jack Martinelli and his team for doing such a great job that year with a top-notch defense and His team just couldn't overcome it. Martinelli trying to pull off the upset here tonight. A Foxborough squad with a losing record, but trying to finish off this season the right way. 3rd down and 3. Mansfield has got to make a stop.
Well, this is interesting. Phil Thomas into the game now.
Thomas on a design keeper, lowers his shoulder. He's out across the 40. Where will they mark him?
This is a big spot here.
Line judge comes in, marks him short of the 41. Taking a measure there is Durba, looking along that line, and we're going to need the sticks to decide if this is a first down or not. I think this is really close, Brady.
I think so too, and I think if this ends up being 4th down, you got to keep your offense on the field. Just go with a quick quarterback keeper right up the middle, Tom Brady style. But I would expect them to be just short of the chains here, and it looks like they are.
Let's call it half a yard short. So, we've seen Jack Martinelli roll the dice a couple times tonight on 4th down. And he came up aces both times, so.
It's interesting to see Phil Thomas back into the game here, his first real snaps of the second half. And almost did enough. You have to know that when he's in the field, chances are he's there to run. Came so close. Looks like the Warriors will be sending the offense back out, and it looks like it'll be Foley back behind center.
Foley gets his instructions from the sideline. Scampers out to the middle of this temporary football field at Fenway Park. Delivers the play call to the Warriors, who break the huddle for a 4th down and less than a yard.
Look at the numbers on the line for Mansfield, a goal line defense.
11 men in the box, misdirection in the backfield. Foley around left edge. Can he get there? He's hooked from behind, but he's got the yardage he needs.
Wow. How about that?
Unbelievable play. Foley went barreling. He needed half a yard, and he just barely got there. The pursuit was great around the edge from Mansfield. Our officials taking a close look, and they're going to call for another measurement.
Seemed like a broken play there. He wanted to find, I think it was Sanders with the run. Saw that the play would have been blown up, so tried to break it outside, and did he get the yards?
Connor climbed him like a tree, swung that arm around his neck. Here comes the biggest measurement of the night. Look at those Warriors ready to explode if they pick up this first down with 3:25 left.
Keep an eye on that spot.
Trying to make sure that there's not too much slack there. Foxborough's got the first down.
Wow, what a half for Foley. He's done it all really with his arm and now with his legs.
Oh, what a great shot from our crew, looking right down that line to gain. Foley extended the football, and I think the officials got the spot just right on that play.
I think so too, about the 41.5-yard line. Just enough for that first down. 3 minutes, just about 3:20 seconds now.
I'll tell you what, Foxborough has got to feel like everything's going right here in the second half. They trailed 6-0 entering the third quarter. Some calls, some plays, some brave execution by the Warriors. They have earned this 1-point lead. Handoff, nearly bobbled in the backfield. Mansfield fills it up and throws him down. That play took a long time to develop, and the Hornets jumped all over it.
If you're Mansfield, you still have plenty of time here. Just under 3 minutes, they take a timeout to stop the clock, but you need a stop here. If that play results in a loss of 1, we'll see it. Foley giving the handoff, like you said, bobbled a little bit.
Keyshawn Sanders did well to corral that ball. So Mansfield takes a timeout. Our scoreboard here at Fenway showing that they still have 3 of their 5 timeouts remaining. 2:53 remaining on the game clock. Loss of 1 on the play, so that'll bring up 2nd down and 11. A rivalry that lasts 365 days a year. Two schools that just don't like each other. but they sure love playing against each other. Liam Foley has guided this offense for most of the night. But Phil Thomas came in during that clutch opportunity, backed up. And the Warriors half of the field. This is Foley now in a bunch tight set. A lot of bodies inside the hashes. It goes around left edge to Kerrigan. Wiggles his way forward, and we'll call that a gain of 2 yards. Clock is stopped again. Mansfield will take another timeout. That should be 1 remaining now.
And the Mansfield defense doing a good job of just being relentless. I think it's easy to get down on yourself when you see such a close decision in that 4th down run from Foley go against you in the way it did for Mansfield. But they've been airtight in these last 2 plays. Now it's a 3rd and 9 for Foxborough. Got to expect a pass here. So you look at that one. Again, one of these kind of sweep plays for Kerrigan. Get it in the hands of the playmaker. That's what it's all about. But wrapped up almost instantly by the Hornets. Number 21, Jack Berry, the wide receiver and safety senior here in his last game as a Mansfield Hornet. Able to come up with the big tackle there.
This game's been a whole lot of fun to watch here in the second half. Foxborough outscoring Mansfield 14-7 since halftime. 2 touchdowns by Mike Luong and a 2-point conversion on the goal line as well. Luong just kept his legs churning from 2 yards out. Got a great push from seemingly every Warrior on the field. And look at the Foxborough cheerleaders. They know that their home team is just 2 minutes and 46 seconds away from spoiling the end of this Mansfield season. A Hornets squad that has been decimated by injuries and illness. Still no excuses, though, from Mike Redding and his staff. And you wonder if Jack Martinelli might be closing in on one of the most memorable wins in his 37-year career here at Foxborough. He points often to that 2006 victory. He remembers it vividly. A couple future NCAA players on that team. Ended up at Mighty Union in Ohio. A couple UMass products. Foxborough brought back the trophy. He swiped it from Mansfield, and Jack Martinelli told me earlier today he thinks often about that 2006 game. But right now, he's thinking 3rd down and 9. Ball on the 43-yard line. The Warriors trying to finish this game by gobbling up the clock and kneeling over that football in victory formation. Foley's on the field in the shotgun, whispering into the ear of Luong, his safety blanket tonight. They bring Kerrigan in motion. They look to him in the flat. He's wide open. He's got the 1st down into Mansfield territory, and he's gonna go the distance. Touchdown, Foxborough.
And what a storybook ending for Kerrigan. Struggled in the first half, but right there makes up for it with that beautiful reception and run. Had to do a lot of it himself. And a good pass from Foley, find him wide open, takes it in stride, makes one defender miss and beats the rest of them to the end zone. What a second half from the Warriors, 20 points in comparison to Mansfield 7, and you just cannot say enough about the job that Jack Martinelli has done here to turn his team around here in the second half.
A 57-yard pass and catch. The play design was beautiful on the wheel route. And now Foxborough is going to attempt the extra point. This would make it an 8-point game. Snap is down, kick is up, high end over end, and it's good. So Mansfield needs a touchdown and a 2-pointer to tie up this game in the final 2:33. Foxborough 21, Mansfield 13, and here's the moment for Shane Kerrigan.
Kerrigan just receives it on the left and then cuts it back against the grain, makes the defender slip, and it's a beautiful run the rest of the way to glory and to potentially a big win here in this rivalry game here at Fenway Park, and sent the fans into a frenzy making the trek here from southern Massachusetts up into Boston, and might be sending these Foxborough fans home happy, but not just yet. Mansfield still with 2.5 minutes here. One timeout on their side, so it's not going to be easy.
And look at that, 15 points in the fourth quarter for Foxborough, shown on that Fenway Park hand-operated scoreboard. A sight unlike anything else in high school football. Foxborough is shipped up to Boston, and they're trying to ship down to Foxborough with a rivalry victory. All they've got to do is wipe away 233, but don't sleep on these Hornets yet. They've shown a lot of speed in the return game, and anytime number 2, Sincere Gill, has the football in his hand, he can make a play. So it's critical now for the Foxborough coverage team to snuff out this kick return. Don't forget, Gill took the last kick he saw into the end zone. It was called back on a block in the back. Short squib kick. It bounced off a Hornet. Do the Foxborough Warriors have it? Waiting for a call. It looks like a battle for the football. Wrestled away at the last second by James Stamatos. A conversation here. Waiting for an official signal. Hornets arguing their case.
This could get messy here, folks. Foxborough ended up with the ball, but Mansfield thinking they had it. That's the referee deciding.
Walking into the secondary. He's awarded the football to Foxborough. The Warriors are sending their offense onto the field.
Let's see it. Excellent squib kick there to get it to bounce just right off the player.
Oh, and that's exactly what you're trying to do on that squib play, is expose one of the up men. No, they're going to say it's Mansfield's ball.
Wow, and Foxborough's a mess right now defensively.
Complete confusion trying to get the right personnel out there, and it's dropped at the line of scrimmage.
What a missed opportunity for Mansfield. Foxborough had no idea.
The Warriors were celebrating. They thought in a lot of ways that this game may have been over.
Well, you see here, can't really see it from that angle, but Foxborough just a mess of confusion on the other side of the ball. But then you go short on a screen pass. I'd like to see a shot there.
I'm amazed by some of these special teams plays that have completely flipped the script here in the second half. That pass was way over the head of the intended target. Musette missed it. And that's going to bring up 3rd down and 10. So, controversial calls aside, all the Warriors need here is to force 4 and out, and they can try to take this game across the finish line.
We sure have had it all here.
Wow.
I think we've taken a few years off some of these fans, players, and coaches' lives.
A game no one here will ever forget. Musette has to throw. It is deflected and caught. Somehow, some way, Connor hauled in the football. He was short of the line to gain, out to the 45, and that's going to bring up 4th down and 2 for the Hornets. They're in the hurry up.
What a catch it was, too, as we get a quick look at it here. Connor just coming back to it.
They're already up at the line of scrimmage. The handoff goes inside. It's a 1st down. Hornets racing down the field now with just 1 timeout. They've got to keep it moving.
I think they just took the timeout. The clock has stopped.
Well, it stops on a 1st down, so they'll reset it quick, and here we go again. 1:50 remaining here in the 4th. 3 wide. Musette's in there trying to guide this offense. Quick hitter into the flat. That's going to take a lot of time off the clock. Danny Raposa made the catch.
Yeah, it's
Again, in these situations, you can't often afford short throws like that with the clock running.
Yeah, it's good to try to get it outside quickly, but you got to get out of bounds. That cut's got to come out towards the sideline so you can just run it out.
Mike Redding and his staff trying to get the calls in quickly. Musette feels the pressure, throws across the middle, intercepted and dropped. Oh, the game nearly came to an end in the arms of Kyle Parker, but we continue on. Wow.
Parker, the senior. What an ending it could have been for him. Had it right in the breadbasket and just slipped away from him. Almost a surprise ended up to him as Musette, he almost couldn't really find Gill there. He should have just left it a little bit closer to the sideline. Mansfield with a second life here.
This game has gotten wild in the second half. 6-0 at the break. Not much going on. Mansfield controlled the clock. Now it's a shootout. Mousset on the go, throws low, incomplete. And now it's going to come down to one play for Mansfield. Just one timeout left for the Hornets. They've got to keep this drive alive. What a comeback here in the second half by Foxborough, and Mansfield is got its back to the wall now.
Absolutely huge play on both sides, and I think for Foxborough, you just got to be careful because it'd be easy to get overexcited here and try to make something happen. All you have to do is just defend those 5 yards, keep Mansfield from getting there.
One of just 4 high school football games to be played during this Thanksgiving week at historic Fenway Park. It began with Burke and West Roxbury. Earlier tonight, that battle of 2 Boston City schools. Foxborough and Mansfield, arguably the best high school football rivalry here in New England, and they have put on one heck of a show. St. John's Prep and Sverian will do battle tomorrow at 5. Natick and Framingham tomorrow night at 7:30. One of the few rivalries that is dating back longer than Foxborough and Mansfield. It'll be the 113th meeting between Natick and Framingham, but this has been one heck of a showcase tonight for 2 schools that love this rivalry. First time in a long time that this game has not been played on Thanksgiving morning. A sacrifice well chosen by both sides.
I think if you told
under the lights like this.
If you told the fans they'd get a game like this for their Thanksgiving matchup, I think they wouldn't have cared when it would be.
Here we go. Mousset out of the gun. He's got to pick up 4th down and 5. Rolls the pocket right. He's got plenty of room. He's got the first down to the 30. He slides safely into second base. Right at the edge of that Fenway Park infield with the temporary grass. Oh, this game is coming down to the wire. Just 1:07 to go. Clock stops on the first down. 4 wide. They'll give it up the gut. Wrap tackle from behind at the 22-yard line. Good pursuit that time from Anton George, who grabbed a fumble back in the second quarter. Mousset trying to keep this pace. No timeouts left for Mansfield. 43 seconds to go. Down into the flat. Connor trying to make a man miss. He reaches forward. He's short of the first down. That'll bring up 3rd down and 1. Clock runs. 32 seconds left. Foxborough trying to hold on to this 8-point lead. 3rd and 1. Up the middle. First down. Inside the 10. What a dive. Joe Plath, who had a 5-yard touchdown in the first half. Clock stops. 20 seconds left. Mansfield is going to spike this into the ground. 1 second. Erased off the clock. 19 seconds remaining. And hold your breath, Brady Gardner. This is going to come down to a goal line stand to decide if this game goes into overtime.
I mean, what a fitting end it's going to be here. This game has been all about this side of the ball with Mansfield and Mansfield's offense, Foxborough's defense. As you see here, Plath just finding some space inside, driving through contact and getting that first down to stop the clock, and then his team hurrying to the line to spike it. And now a timeout called by the Warriors, so no timeouts available now on either side, just 20 seconds straight up that we will play. And 8 yards to the end zone here for Mansfield, trailing by 8.
The first Thanksgiving Day meeting between these two teams came way back in 1947. It was a 13-7 win for Mansfield. These two schools have been playing on the gridiron since the 1920s, and it's hard to remember a game like this one, under the lights at Fenway Park, coming down to the final seconds in the 4th quarter. Nothing's over yet. Can the Warriors get a stop? Here we go, first down and goal from the 7. Now we'll get an official's timeout here as our referee tries to figure out. They'll have to change the down marker on the near side because they did clock it.
Maybe they didn't have to because Foxborough took a timeout, actually.
Okay, so we get the clarification. No timeouts on either side. Mousset looks to the end zone. He throws into the hands of Gill, and he dropped it. Deflected in coverage by the Warriors. Kyle Parker did just enough to divert the path of that football, but you take another look, Gill nearly hauled it in anyway.
Oh my gosh, Kyle Parker almost did everything right, getting in the way of it, getting a fingertip to it, and somehow ended up in the hands of Gill, who just could not corral it as he went to the ground. He's been such a dynamic player for Mansfield all game and frankly all season. It would not have been any surprise to see him come up with the big touchdown, but was not to be on that play. 14 seconds left.
2nd down and goal from the 7-yard line. Mousset shakes off the pressure. He tucks it, angling toward the sideline. They mark him out of bounds inside the 5. Clock stops with 7 seconds left. And you got to think that's just enough time to run 2 plays 5 yards out.
Yeah, and you got to do it quickly too. It's going to have to be quick plays, but what a job by Mousset, trying to just make something happen with his legs, and a bit fortunate to be called to get out of bounds there, as he might have kind of tumbled there in bounds, but the referees gave him the benefit of the doubt. So 7 seconds left. Clock has stopped, gives him an opportunity to set his team up in the huddle. Take a little breather here. 3rd down and 5 to go into the end zone.
3 wideouts to the right. Mousset, the throwing option in at quarterback. To the back corner. It's deflected and caught in the end zone. Christian Connor gets the touchdown with 2 seconds left. Another deflected pass, this time hauled in by the Hornets, and it's a 2-point conversion away from a tie game.
You had to know it would come on a weird play, as Mousset's throw goes through the hands, or off the hands of Gill, and then into the hands of Connor. It's such an unlucky break for the Warriors, but Mansfield's had such a fantastic drive here in this last 2.5 minutes. Have to say that they deserve to find the end zone. 2 seconds left. It's not really going to matter, because this extra point will be played as long as it needs to be.
I'll tell you what, I've covered high school, college, and professional football all across this country. I can't remember a finish as wild as this. The calls, the deflections, the near turnovers, the controversy, the passion, and it all comes down to this 2-point conversion. Can Mansfield force overtime against Foxborough? Fenway Park is alive. Sacco in at quarterback. He gives to Gill. He's in! Mansfield 21, Foxborough 21. But hang on to your hats. There's still 2 seconds left, and Mansfield is going to have to kick the ball away. Based on the special teams plays we've seen tonight, it's not over till the final whistle blows.
Yeah, it's a real shame for the Warriors, but what a job by Mansfield. You see this touchdown here as Gill trying to make the unbelievable catch. Didn't realize Connor was right behind him, and ultimately ends up in the hands of Connor. Corrals it nicely as he goes to the ground, but I have to say with Foxborough, they've done such a good job defensively all game long. They've got to the red zone, or Mansfield has, but Foxborough wasn't able to stand them up just enough. But this bend, don't break defense was bound to break at some point. And as you see, this 2-point conversion as Gill, relatively uncontested, finds his way into the end zone. 21-21 in just about the most unconventional way you could get here. And looks like we might be headed to overtime.
Mike Redding has got to be thrilled with that 2-minute offense by his Hornets squad. Great play designs down along the goal line, especially bringing Sacco, the converted running back turned quarterback. You have to respect him and stay at home if you're a linebacker. And that opened up the running lane for the galloping Sincere Gill.
That's exactly right.
So 2 seconds left and a kickoff that the Hornets are just going to try to angle towards somebody wearing a Warriors uniform, get the clock started, and finish off this game. It'll come off the foot of Nico Holmes. He drives it low, right down the middle. Quick knee taken there. Great play by the up man, Phil Thomas, to stop the clock with 1 second left. Outstanding understanding of the game, and you have to expect that from a guy who's played wide out, quarterback. He's played in the secondary, and you can see why he's one of the upperclassmen leaders on this team. So, one more play for Foxborough, and we'll see what they can draw up here. Maybe Jack Martinelli's got one more trick play in his pocket. William Foley, as good an arm as he has, there are very few quarterbacks at any level that can heave the ball 75 yards into the end zone.
Yeah,
so
it's kneel formation.
That's what they're going to do. No reason to get crazy here. And the Warriors will take it to overtime. Foxborough 21, Mansfield 21. We've played 4 quarters here at Fenway Park, and nothing's been decided yet in the 89th football meeting between the Warriors and the Hornets.
Oh my gosh, everybody take a deep breath. Those were crazy final 22 minutes of this one. Foxborough able to get on the board quickly in that second half with a Mike Luong touchdown, followed pretty much immediately by a long run from Sacco. And eventually Foxborough able to put in another touchdown through Luong, and then Kerrigan added another, and it looked like the game might have been sealed at that point with Foxborough leading 21-13. 2.5 minutes left, but Mansfield, perhaps the drive of their season, going all the way and eventually scoring with Christian Connor providing the touchdown and then the 2-point conversion to tie it up from Sincere Gill. That's how we got here. Who the heck knows how we're going to finish out here?
A second half that is unforgettable, to say the least. And we'll find out who walks off this field triumphant tonight in an overtime session. There have been 5 ties all time in the history of this rivalry, but tonight will not be one of them. Hard to imagine a time when a tie would have been acceptable in a rivalry this heated. You want so bad to settle this game on the field, and that's what we'll get here after a short delay and a break for both teams to just catch their breaths, figure out what's next. A furious comeback by Mansfield in the 2-minute offense, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. A kick return wiped away on a controversial block in the back call that cost the Hornets. We wondered if that could determine the outcome of the game, but instead, we go to overtime to try and separate these two close rivals. Both teams are out of postseason consideration. This will be their final bow in 2018, so there's nothing sweeter than finishing your season with a win and heading into that long 9-month off season with bragging rights over your neighborhood rival.
And you can't forget, for these seniors, this is your last time putting on the pads for your respective teams. It just means so much to potentially finish off your high school career with a big victory on this stage at Fenway Park in this historic rivalry.
And we should have known that Mansfield was going to make it noisy in the fourth quarter. They've scored more than 100 points this year in the fourth and final quarter, outpacing every other quarter this year by more than 30 points, and they did it again tonight. 15 points in the fourth quarter. So now we go to the coin flip. And we will decide who will get the first possession here in overtime.
It's the pair of quarterbacks with Foley and Sacco. Actually, Sacco kind of took a seat there in that last drive as Musette was the go-to guy behind center there for the Hornets in that big game-tying drive. But these are the two playmakers.
That was, by the way. Executed some perfect touch passes. A couple deflected, but his receivers followed the ball and made the decisive touchdown catch. Getting a long explanation here from our officials who have had their hands full tonight to say the least. They've done their best to keep this game within reason between two teams that have been showing a lot of emotion, but in a lot of ways here, a lot of the heat has melted off from that final drive for Mansfield. You've got to think this is an advantage for Foxborough. A lot of that momentum's been wiped away here with all this preamble before overtime.
Yeah, that's right. You almost wish that the fourth quarter had been a couple minutes longer. Such great atmosphere here at Fenway Park, and the fans who made the journey here into Boston. And a little bit of the life sucked out of the stadium right now as we prepare for overtime, and really a stage that neither team is all that familiar with, as you see both coaches in there getting the explanations along with their captains.
Interesting to see that.
Well, your guess is as good as mine as to any potential technicalities that may be the case here in overtime. But I figure when we see a team swarm the field, that's when we'll know.
Gettysburg Address was shorter than this huddle to take us into overtime. Both teams itching to get back out on the field, and you see the intensity from Mike Redding there. Jack Martinelli out on the field as well. Both coaches want so badly.
You can see it all in the facial expression of Redding. Obviously, with his back to us, Martinelli can't really tell what he's saying, but kind of a more subdued character. Redding, you can tell he just wants to get this thing underway, figure out the details later.
So now it looks like we might finally get a coin toss here.
I'd hope so at some point.
A couple more wrinkles on the faces of Martinelli and Redding after this night at Fenway. You can see the breath steaming from everyone. Temperatures dipping down below 30 degrees. Luckily, things have stayed dry. A little rain and snow in the build-up to this game, but it's done nothing to cool off this rivalry. So after all that, the Warriors will huddle on the far side of the field, and it looks like Foxborough will go on offense first. So advantage to Mansfield. In the overtime scenario, think about it like the top and bottom half of innings in a baseball game. The visiting team will go first here, and Mansfield will get an opportunity to see how many points they need to either tie or win the game. The ball will be spotted first down and goal at the 10-yard line. At the very least, the Warriors need 3 points on this possession, but of course, they would prefer 7 to put the pressure on Mansfield. 21-21 the score. We're set for the first possession of overtime here at Fenway Park. This historic baseball site, now the home to one of the best high school football rivalries in New England.
Phil Thomas under center.
Double pitch, out of the backfield. Kerrigan throws it, end zone, out of bounds. Connected with his target, Phil Thomas, who after all that broke along the boundary and came open for a moment, but good pressure by Mansfield to disrupt that play in the secondary just enough.
Yeah, it's the play you've seen sometimes in the NFL, kind of dubbed the Philly special now for reasons New England fans don't like to really talk about. But Thomas just trying to make the quick pass over to Jerba, or I believe it was Kerrigan, and try to run towards the corner there, catch the defense off guard, not expecting the quarterback to be running at him. But it looked like the defense was there, ready for it. And now the Mansfield team hyping their fans up, getting the atmosphere back and going here at Fenway Park.
Foley feels the pressure, throws it up to the end zone, batted and incomplete. Connor had a chance to try and pick that out of the air. It was over the head of the intended receiver, and that'll bring up third down and goal from the 10.
I think that might have been Rob Fay there, and it almost looked like Foley could have just gone with one of those low lasers he's thrown before. Instead tried to kind of float it in there.
Oh boy.
And it looked like his guy might have had the corner. Had he just zipped it in at a low angle.
When you're on the run like that, you want so badly to make that throw as hard as you can. You don't want to leave it short. Defense, the chant for Mansfield. Foley shakes it off, throws it up, caught! Touchdown Foxborough! Brian Durba, his first score of the night. Advantage Foxborough here in the top half of the first overtime.
And what a play once again from Liam Foley. Battling through, hands all over him there as some Hornets had gotten into the backfield quickly, but kept his eyes downfield and found Durba nicely. You see there Foley just battling through, kind of just chucks it up there, but at a perfect angle for Durba to go up and corral it. What a throw and what a catch.
These offenses have found their stride since halftime.
Foxborough's going to go for the 2-point conversion.
Why not? Keep the momentum going and apply more pressure on Mansfield. It looks like we'll get a timeout here by Jack Martinelli and his staff. They want to make sure that they dial up another 2-point conversion.
I don't even know how timeouts work in overtime. How many do you get? I wouldn't expect that many, so obviously Martinelli thinks this is a pretty big play here, being on only just a 2-point conversion. But if you convert this one, you really put the pressure on the Hornets, as we'll take one more look at the touchdown. Once again, Foley couldn't really set his feet with just all the bodies in the area, but didn't matter, able to use that arm strength to get it up into a position where only his receiver could come down with it. What a catch from Durba. It's been the junior tandem, Durba and Kerrigan, who's been relied on so much in those receiver positions this season, and once again, they've shown up again tonight.
So here we go, 2-point conversion time again for the Warriors. 3 wide to the left. Foley checks it down, hit applied right at the point of the catch, and Shane Kerrigan goes nowhere. So the 2-point conversion fails. Foxborough 27, Mansfield 21, which means if the Hornets can score a touchdown on this ensuing drive and make the extra point, they would walk off winners.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd love the call from Foxborough. Obviously, this kind of aggressive play calling is what has got Coach Martinelli here in this game, going for it on 4th down and going with some trickery at times, but you're going to go for it here. Now open the door for Mansfield. If they score, all they need is that extra point, and they've proven that they can hit it here. Now that you have Gill taking the place kicks, it looks like. Had one straight through the uprights earlier. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw the same if they're able to find the end zone tonight, or right here. But the Warrior defense is going to have to come up with a stop once again.
Sacco, the runner, back in there at quarterback. Fakes the give to Gill. He's got the right edge to the 5, to the corner. He's in. Touchdown Hornets on the first play, on their first possession in overtime. This game is tied 27-all, and the Hornets can win it with an extra point or a 2-point conversion.
Yep, drawn up play for Sacco to go right. You get everybody on the left, bring the defense to the left, and then you send the quarterback running to the right. Just trust his foot speed. He's able to win that race to the corner of the end zone. Really no challenge. That looked easy. We'll see.
Sacco's second touchdown tonight. He had a 68-yarder early in the second half. And the offense is back out there. The Hornets are going to try and win it here with a 2-point conversion. Sacco at quarterback. A lot of targets around him. Foxborough staff all the way out to the numbers again.
Yeah, flag flies here. What is this?
Came in from the secondary. It's going to be delay of game against the Hornets. That's going to cost them 5 yards.
You cannot have that. Wow, and that changes everything.
At the very least, it changes the play call.
Yeah.
Wow. So now, will Sacco stay on the field? Musette has been their throwing option at quarterback, and you have to think from 8 yards out at the right hash, trying to pick up this yardage on a straight handoff or a little misdirection in the backfield might not do it. Musette goes back to the sideline. Sacco's going to stay on. After rolling in for the touchdown, Mike Redding's going to ride the hot hand. So here we go. Bottom of the first overtime. Mansfield can win it right here with a 2-point conversion and another stoppage.
Might be a timeout. Mansfield, it looks like, according to the PA announcer here. Just want to think things over a little bit more, and almost surprised that they're not sending the field goal unit out. I mean, I realize you're down to your third kicker, which is not ideal, but I feel like you could hit it there from just 20 yards out. Maybe I'm asking too much of your place kicker, but you have had some success here in recent minutes against this tiring Foxborough defense. That's
Boy,
probably what they're thinking.
Yeah, a couple misses back in the first half. Could have been the difference in regulation.
Well,
Sincere Gill did make one extra point as the relief kicker. This thing has been wild ever since we came back from halftime. So a 2-point conversion can win it for Mansfield in overtime. Foxborough looking for another stop on defense. Sacco at quarterback. Low snap. Give to Gill. Looking for space. He's stopped inside the 5. And this game continues.
And you have to wonder, if they don't get that 5-yard delay of game penalty, how does that play out? Because Gill got a good chunk there, but not enough. Would he have had it if they didn't have that penalty? Let's see it again. Gill with the run up the middle. Just a little draw there out of the shotgun formation, and ends up a good 4 or 5 yards short.
That's just a lot to ask from 8 yards out. As good as Gill has been, as elusive and slippery, that's a tough play when everyone in the stadium knows a run is coming with Sacco at quarterback. So, a touchdown for both teams and a failed 2-point conversion for both teams.
Just nothing to separate them, frankly. We've seen the same things. We've seen bad penalties on both sides. We've seen big plays on both sides. We've seen missed opportunities. We've seen made opportunities. These teams are as close as you can get here in this game. And we're going to switch sides now as overtime goes.
And it looks like we have a Mansfield player down on the field. Gill was getting stretched out.
Yeah.
They've been worried about some cramps there, but he pops right back up, and he's going to stay in the game. That's absolutely critical for the Hornets, who now go right back on offense. So Foxborough will get the chance to walk it off in the bottom of the second overtime.
Right.
We love using those baseball metaphors.
I could tell.
Here at Fenway Park, 27-all. Let's hope it doesn't go as long as Game 3 of the World Series.
Wow, we're throwing them all in. But yeah, this is one of those quirky things about high school overtimes. It's almost like the snake draft you see sometimes. As now it's going to be Mansfield and then Foxborough after it was just Foxborough and Mansfield. Here we go, first down.
Joe Plath takes the handoff. He plows ahead, reaches down to the 6-yard line. Ball popped loose late. The ground caused the fumble, so Mansfield keeps possession. Boy, that was a chance for Brian Durba. He thought for a second he may have been the hero to force the turnover.
Yeah, Plath, their red zone runner, just unable to get through the crowd on that one. You can tell what the emphasis is for Foxborough. Get as many guys in there for that run defense down the middle as possible. Not too concerned about the passing options on the outsides, willing to go one-on-one out there.
Musette led the game-tying drive, but here's Sacco. Fakes the give, looking for room. He's pushed out of bounds after a 2-yard loss. Great chase by the Warriors that time.
It's good.
Like it was Shane Kerrigan again. He's been busy on both sides of the ball.
It's a good adjustment from Foxborough because that's a very similar play to the one that Sacco scored on their last offensive possession. Right there, Sacco tries to cut it outside, and you see the secondary from Foxborough immediately leave their guys and go over to push the runner out of bounds. Brings it third down and just about 6.
Tied after 1 overtime. We're in the top of the second. Sacco pulls the man in motion. Gives it right away. What a tackle along the line of scrimmage. The Warriors stacked the pads. Hunter Williams, one of those defensive captains, made the stop, and we've got a Hornet down in the middle of the park. In fact, a couple Hornets look slow on this play. Christian Connor, I think, may have contacted TJ Guy, the big lineman.
And you see both of them maybe feeling it a little bit there. This is kind of where that fatigue sets in a little bit. It's a cold night, maybe muscles starting to cramp up. But you know, if you're a player, you're not really thinking about that right now. You're not worried about how you're going to feel tomorrow, because a win would make everything feel fine.
The ultimate medicine at this point. Final game of the season. Nothing left in the tank for either team until they meet again 1 year from now. So 4th down and goal from the 6-yard line. Foxborough awaiting its possession here in the second overtime. And now we'll get another timeout called. Each team gets 1 timeout in each overtime period.
Well, you make the baseball references. This is starting to feel like the late innings of a baseball game. Seems like every decision is just hyper-analyzed and looked at from every possible angle. It's like a mound visit, really, all these timeouts. Just trying to think about how you want to attack the opposition. You have to think after 44-plus minutes of football, they know each other pretty well at this point, know the schemes. Right now it's really just who's going to make a play.
Both coaches talked about making history tonight. A rivalry in football that dates back 89 years. And for the first time, it's being played at Fenway. Someone's name is going to go down in town legend at the end of this game tonight. Will it be on the Foxborough side or the Mansfield side of this rivalry that's been so close throughout the years, but dominated recently by Mansfield, winners of 11 of the last 14 games. Hornets with a chance to take the lead in the top of the second overtime. 4th down and goal from the 6-yard line. Musette, the throwing quarterback, is back in there. He throws to the pylon, caught. Did he cross the goal line? They mark him short. No touchdown. The Warriors hold.
Wow. Another, just, you can't get any closer than that, really.
Danny Raposa made the catch, but the Warriors forced him out at the 1.
It's all about the ball. Did the ball cross the plane? If high school games had the benefit of video replay, we would have had quite a few at this point.
And could the name Shane Kerrigan go down in the history books with that one-on-one tackle at the goal line? So now the Warriors can win it with a touchdown or a field goal. They're 10 yards away from surviving this struggle in overtime. Foley, straight up the middle, nothing there. Conservative play call on 1st down, a straight dive play.
Well, Foxborough has the upper hand now. They don't need an extra point. They don't even need a 2-point conversion. They just need to find a way to put the ball in the end zone. Or they could even kick it here if they end up on a 4th down and they think they're close enough.
Well, you have to think, even if you're not that confident as a Foxborough coach, you might just opt for the field goal just to try and win it and walk it out of here.
They don't even want to get that far, though. They want to finish it here.
Heavy set. Foley goes to Luong. Rolling forward, gets a push. Down to the 6. Mike Luong with 2 touchdowns already tonight. He's been a bulldozer down in this red zone. So that'll bring up 3rd down and goal from the 6-yard line. Hang on to your hats. The Warriors can win it right here.
Complete line change here. I've seen 7 different Warriors enter the game.
Boy, these are the big boys coming in now. They want the heavy set. This is the all-buffet team coming in. And it looks like they're going to attempt the field goal right now.
On a 3rd down.
Phil Thomas, the holder. Foxborough coach is barreling down the sideline trying to get the timeout called, and they finally do. So, quite a decision after Foxborough left its kicker on the sideline. Following a score in the top of the first overtime, they bring senior kicker Russell Neal out to attempt what would be the biggest kick of his football life.
And probably the last one. I mean, what a story it could be for him. Not going to talk about it too much, don't want to jinx him, but.
A game that has been soured at times tonight by a lack of execution in the kicking game could come down to one field goal in overtime for an unforgettable win.
That's right.
It looks like Neal is going to stay out there. So you call the field goal on 3rd down just in case something goes wrong. You can fall on top of the ball and then get another chance on 4th down. But Foxborough wants it all right here. Bottom of the 2nd overtime. Game-winning field goal attempt from 23 yards out. Russell Neal, blocked! Blocked at the line. Mansfield stays alive. Gill running around. Goes down at the 17-yard line, and we're heading to a 3rd overtime.
Oh my gosh. I can't take it anymore. This game has had everything. And now you see Gill, he's feeling it. He was kind of hobbling early, and now he's really struggling, but.
Let's take a look at this block by Mansfield and try to see who got that hand up. Oh, skying through the middle. Was that TJ Guy? Look at the hops. Big number 79, like Superman out of nowhere. Unbelievable athleticism.
He's been a menace in the middle this whole time, and you had to figure he would have something to say here late. I haven't said his name in a while, but right there, flying through, the sophomore.
And remember, he was injured earlier on that series, and for the 2nd time here in overtime, Sincere Gill, one of the best offensive weapons for Mansfield, is down. Getting medical attention from the athletic training staff. I think he's just absolutely gassed. He's stretching things out again. Looks like a cramp, nothing serious, but they will switch ends again. 3rd overtime upcoming in a truly unforgettable game here at Fenway.
It is insane, and you can you talk about how this is going to end up, and you love how it's such a dramatic game, but it's going to be heartbreak for one of these teams, and of course, jubilation for the other. That's how it works sometimes, but what a game we have on our hands.
It's hard to recap everything that's happened here in the 2nd half. Now into a 3rd overtime. The headline here, Mansfield marched down for a game-tying touchdown and 2-point conversion in the closing minutes. They cashed in with just 2 seconds left. Christian Connor forced overtime. So here we go, Warriors on offense first. Foley trying to squirt ahead for a couple. He picked up 2 yards. Oh, Foley's been a warrior tonight. The junior is expected to be back next year. He wants to win this under the lights at Fenway. Both teams scored in the first overtime, missed the 2-pointers. Neither team scored in the second overtime. From just 10 yards out, neither team could come away with points.
It's the third try of the charm.
Warriors keeping it tight here. And this run-first offense. Luong off to the left. Foley's going to throw. Finds Luong in the flat. Touchdown, Warriors! He's done it again. Mike Luong's third touchdown tonight. Foxborough 33, Mansfield 27, but hang on tight. The conversions have been dramatic all night long.
And what a block from number 13, Elijah Lewis. We'll see if we can see it here. Foley does a good job of getting it into the hands and out quickly. He finds his man in Luong, and a beautiful block from Elijah Lewis to send his man flying. And that clears the space for Luong to trot into the end zone. But as you said, it is far from over.
A great, clean block by Lewis
2-point conversion.
to clear the runway for Luong. So now, 2-point conversion again. Timeout Foxborough.
That one taken by Liam Foley, so starting to really call the shots there is the quarterback, but he deserves that kind of responsibility. Been so good here down the stretch for the Warriors. Again, had a big role to play in those 3 wins they had in their last 4 games of the season. And now here they are trying to finish off what would be a legendary win over Mansfield. All of a sudden, we're up to 33-27 for a score. This game finished 21-21.
One of the most bizarre, exciting, stunning football games I've ever seen at any level. Only in a rivalry like this one. The emotion, the excitement. Mansfield is still going to get another shot. Don't forget, we're in the top of the 3rd overtime. Foxborough just trying to pad this lead and make the test a little tougher for the Hornets. So here we go. 2-point conversion from the 3-yard line. Foley's got Luong offset to his right. Rolls the pocket, looks, throws, caught! 2 points for Foxborough. Rob Fay hauls it in. Foxborough in front by 8.
Once again, Rob Fay popping up when they need him. It's been kind of quiet this game, but right there, no better time for him to make a big catch. Once again, Foley rolling to the right. He's done that a lot tonight, throwing across his body, which isn't ideal, but when you got a big wide receiver like Fay there and not too much to lose from it, you can afford to do that kind of thing, and the senior goes up and makes a play.
He knew he had the mismatch in coverage. Sacco, the DB, just 5'11". Rob Fay, the wideout, 6'3".
Aiden Sacco, what a workhorse he is on both sides of the ball for Mansfield, and wouldn't be surprised if he's a central part here of this attempt at a game-tying series here for the Hornets. They're going to need one, though, and they're going to need pretty much flawless execution. They've got to get the touchdown and then the 2-point conversion.
This game's not over yet, but the Hornets need 2 scores, a touchdown and a 2. Musette, the thrower, is in there. Gill takes it between the hashes, picks up 2. That'll make things a little bit easier on 2nd down and goal from the 8. Gill has done everything tonight. A massive 60-yard run opened up the first score of the game when it was 0-0 way back in the first quarter.
Feels like forever ago.
Unbelievable. And then he had the 2-point conversion to take us into overtime. 2nd and goal from the 8.
Sacco lined up here.
Out of the gun. The thrower's going to keep it on the run. And he slides down to the 4.
You see Sacco as a near side wide receiver now. He's been in the backfield as a running back. He's taken the snaps as quarterback. Now he's outside as a wide receiver. The guy makes plays wherever he is. But that one a designed run for Musette. But they've got their work cut out for them here. They've got 3 yards and 3rd down against a Foxborough defense that has not given up easily tonight.
Musette surveying that defense. 3rd down and goal from the 3. High snap, juggled, Gill, he's got the corner, touchdown. Gill's been slowed by injuries here in overtime, but he gets upright and into the house for 6 more.
Credit to him because he has taken a beating. I'd love to see the amount of touches he's had tonight. It's got to be into the 30s.
Do it all.
Really?
Running, catching, kick returning, and now Foxborough can still win it right here.
Just need one play.
One stop defensively. A 2-point conversion from the 3-yard line, and we'll get a timeout here from Mike Redding.
Yeah, had to know it was coming. Just one of those little chess moves where you try to see what defense the opposition is going to come out with to a certain formation. And both teams kind of go to backup options now for this play. But what a game it has been.
This game started nearly 3.5 hours ago.
Yeah, by high school standards, that's a long time.
Nobody's complaining either.
Yeah.
Foxborough 35, Mansfield 33. We're in the bottom of the 3rd overtime. Mansfield needs 2 here to force a 4th overtime. As it stands right now, Mike Luong's 3 touchdowns could be the difference for the Warriors. A night he'll never forget, but more than anything, he wants this win over the arch rival. 11 on 11 from 3 yards out. The 89th meeting between these rivals comes down to this. 2-point conversion to force another overtime. Mousset gives to Gill. Penetration. The Warriors trying to get him. They can't corral him. Is he in? No decision on the far side. We're completely frozen here at Fenway. The line judge didn't make a call.
Oh my God.
Ryan Durba's holding the pylon, and they call holding against Mansfield. A penalty brings it back. It looked like Gill was in to force a 4th overtime, but a flag came in, and holding is the call against the Hornets.
Oh my gosh. What an effort from Gill. He was dropped almost 7 yards in the backfield, but kept his feet and pounded his way in towards the corner. It looked like he got the pylon. Let's see a replay of it. Trying to drive his way in. It's Durba right there to meet him. It looks like he breaks the plane. That's got to be a touchdown. But the line judge didn't signal.
There was such good penetration on that play by Foxborough's defense. It looked like Gill was dead to rights in the backfield. And that pressure by the Warriors may have helped create that holding call. So now, this rivalry comes down to a 2-point conversion from the 13-yard line. Last chance, Mousset. He's got to let it go. Into the end zone. It is off the fingertips. Incomplete to Danny Raposa. And Foxborough beats Mansfield at Fenway 35-33 in 3 overtimes.
Wow.
That close. And Foxborough goes wild, celebrating with the student section downstairs. A hard-fought victory for the ages, and one that the Warriors will never forget.
One that neither team will ever forget. When you talk about the history between these teams, almost a century between the two. And this one of the best games that has ever been played between Foxborough and Mansfield. It had it all. It had the big plays. It had the nail-biting moments. And at the end, it's the underdogs, Foxborough, who come in and get the 35-33 win over their rivals, Mansfield, in the 2018 Thanksgiving rivalry game here at Fenway Park.
One more look at this decisive play. Mousset made a great throw, absorbed the hit, but Raposa couldn't bring it in. Excellent coverage downfield. Shane Kerrigan was there. Michael Devlin in on the game-winning stop. And this game is history. The 89th meeting between Foxborough and Mansfield in football belongs to the Warriors. 35-33. Mike Luong cashes in 3 times. His touchdown run in the 3rd overtime helped put Foxborough ahead for good. But don't forget that 2-point catch by Rob Fay. Unbelievable game. One of the best, one of the most exciting, head-scratching, thrilling sporting events I've ever had the pleasure to cover. And for Foxborough Cable Access, this is some footage that fans in Foxborough will be clamoring to see for decades to come.
Yeah, this is a game that we're going to hear a lot about, I'm sure, in the coming days, both in local media and probably around Boston, I would guess. Just a special game between these two teams on a special stage. And, of course, hats off to the Hornets. They gave it their all, the likes of Aiden Sacco, and you got Gill, Plath, Musette, so many guys who contributed so much to Mansfield, both in this game and all year long. And, of course, nothing taken away from what they were able to do this year, making it all the way to the Division II South Finals. Of course, an unfortunate loss there to King Philip, and then another one here to Foxborough in this game. So not the way they would have liked to finish their season, but credit to everything that they were able to do, both under Coach Redding and just the team itself. Fantastic effort all year long. And then Foxborough, the storybook ending here, finishing their season 4-5 after starting it 1-6. I think it's quite an accomplishment, and tons of credit to Coach Martinelli for everything he was able to do here with a team that had a lot of question marks going into the year and a lot of question marks halfway through the season. But a lot of these questions were answered by the end here, and you can tell it by the result of this big game against Mansfield. What a win for the Warriors.
Jack Martinelli said this is the Super Bowl for his team, and they played like it tonight. They were dominated in time of possession during the first half. Hard to believe Mansfield led this game 6-0 at halftime, and Foxborough outscores Mansfield 35-7 down the stretch, or should I say 35-27. Any way you slice it, Foxborough came to life offensively in the second half, and both teams gathering around for the post-game festivities. You know how hard this must be for Mansfield, but great sportsmanship shown on both sides. There were tempers flaring in the first half, and this game reached a whole new level after halftime, and hardware being set at midfield over the top of that Harvard-Yale logo. This field has been busy. Harvard upended Yale in one of the oldest rivalries in all of sports right here at Fenway on Saturday. This is the second high school game played on this field here tonight. We'll see 2 more tomorrow as St. John's Prep and Severian battle at 5 o'clock. Natick and Framingham will match up in their ancient rivalry for a 113th time. Kind of makes this 89-year rivalry sound a little bit younger between Mansfield and Foxborough, but after talking with both of these coaches for the Hornets and Warriors earlier this week about their most memorable games in this series, I have no doubt that this game will rise to the top of both of their lists for some of the right and some of the wrong reasons. But what a showcase for these two schools and high school athletics overall here in New England. The final score, Foxborough 35, Mansfield 33 in 3 overtimes. Let's go down to the field for the trophy ceremony.
Presentation of our Thanksgiving Day trophies. First, the Outstanding Lineman Award to the Foxborough Warriors. Number 71, Sean Teixeira.
On Teixeira, a name we didn't really mention much tonight, but one of those senior leaders for the Warriors, a senior captain who's just done such a great job on that offensive line for Foxborough. Worked so hard, and good for him.
For the Mansfield Hornets goes to number 73, Colby Easton.
Mansfield with their number 73, Colby Easton, getting it. The senior surely means a lot to him as well.
Most valuable player award for the Mansfield Hornets goes to number 34, Joe Platt.
Joe Plath receiving an Offensive Player Award. Had an early touchdown in this one.
Foxborough Most Valuable Player Award goes to number 9, Liam Foley.
And not a huge surprise there as Liam Foley collects the Offensive Most Valuable Player Award for Foxborough. Senior quarterback who did so well for his team at the end.
The Don Corrigan Memorial Trophy is awarded to today's winning coach, Jack Martinelli of the Warriors of Foxborough High School, and will be presented by Foxborough High School Superintendent Amy Berdos.
And how about that?
A big hand for these two outstanding teams for this great game.
Jack Martinelli raises the trophy, and that caps off a magical night for the Foxborough Warriors.
I pause to call it a comeback because this was such a back and forth battle down the stretch. Major momentum shifts on both sides of the ball, but the Warriors made just enough plays late. And think about the resilience. They watched Mansfield march down the field, trailing 21-13 at the end of regulation, cash in a touchdown with 2 seconds left, and then convert the two-pointer to essentially rain all over their parade. But the Warriors wouldn't go down without a fight. They traded scores in the first overtime. Both teams went empty in the second overtime. TJ Guy made one of the most impressive blocked field goal efforts I've ever seen, leaping over the line, getting his 225-pound frame up in the air. It looked time and time again like Mansfield, the favorite, the team with more wins, the team that went to the D2 state semifinals, was going to do just enough to hold down Foxborough, but not tonight here at Fenway Park. The Foxborough Warriors win it in 3 overtimes, 35-33, and that is one heck of a team picture.
It sure is, and a great shot down there on the Fenway Park field. You cannot write this stuff.
That's why they play the games, Brady.
That's right.
One that we will never forget. And we thank you so much for tuning in tonight. My thanks to our entire crew here at Fenway Park. They've been working hard in the cold all afternoon to bring you the pictures and sounds of the most dynamic, perhaps one of the most memorable matchups in this storied history between Foxborough and Mansfield. My thanks as well to my broadcast partner, Brady Gardner. Hard to encapsulate this game in just a couple sentences, but I'll ask you to do it right now.
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot. I just think it's such a memorable performance from both teams. Mansfield just cannot hang their heads. They did so well all year long and so well tonight. They battled back after Foxborough looked to take an advantage there late in that second half. Mansfield did everything they could, but the Warriors battling all the way till the end. This relentless team just endlessly working all season long, even when it seemed like, maybe it's not going to be our year. Well, they kept working and they kept figuring out their problems, and it all pays off tonight here at Fenway Park on the big rivalry stage. What a season for this team, and what a final game to end it.
Foxborough avenges a 28-20 loss last year in Foxborough with a 4th win in the last 15 meetings against a mighty Mansfield squad. So once again, for our entire crew here at Fenway Park, including my broadcast partner, Brady Gardner, I'm Kevin Gale saying so long for now. Thanks so much for tuning in all season long to Foxborough Cable Access. Good from Boston.
Thanks for watching this Cable 8 sports coverage of the 2018 football season. Game coverage made possible through the efforts of Foxboro Cable Access volunteers. You can watch all the Warrior home games Mondays at 8 on Comcast Channel 8 and Verizon Channel 39. You can also catch us online at fcatv.org and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.